My child, pause for a moment and open your heart to me, because what I am about to reveal carries the weight of eternity pressing gently upon this single moment in your life. Listen closely, for what's inside could change your life forever is not merely a title. It is the truth of what has been stirring within your spirit, calling you into awakening. You stand on the edge of a transformation you have long felt but never fully embraced, and I am drawing you near now so you do not miss what I have placed inside you from the beginning. Come closer to me now, child of mine, closer than your thoughts, closer than your breath, closer than the weight that has been pressing on your chest. I am speaking to you, yes you, in this very moment, and I am inviting you to draw near in a way you may not have allowed yourself to in a long time. You do not need to fix yourself first. You do not need to pretend you are stronger than you feel, and you do not need to hide the questions you have been afraid to ask me. Just come as you are, because I already see everything you are trying to carry alone. I see the secrets that never made it into your prayers, the disappointments you tried to shrug off, the tears you wiped away before anyone could notice. And I am not pushing you away because of them. I am pulling you closer. Feel how your heart responds, even now, as you read these words, that quiet stirring, that sudden ache in your chest, that gentle warmth with the unexpected tears. That is your spirit recognizing my voice and my nearness. You have listened to so many other voices, voices of fear, of criticism, of shame, of comparison, and they have told you that you are too much or not enough, too late or too broken. But I am asking you to step out of that noisy crowd and come sit with me in a quieter place, where only my heart for you is allowed to speak. Imagine, just for a moment, that you are sitting with me, and there is nothing between us, not your past, not your failures, not your confusion, not your sin, not your questions, only you, only me, and a love that is older than your first memory. Breathe, child, because you are safe with me. I am not here to condemn you, to lecture you harshly, or to remind you of everything you did wrong. I am here to call you close enough to feel my compassion wrap around every fragile part of you. You have walked through days when you wondered if I was distant, silent, or indifferent to your pain, but I was closer than the pounding of your heart, holding you together when you felt like you were falling apart. Even now, this moment is not an accident. I have drawn you here because I want to meet you in the very place where you feel tired, worn out, disappointed, or numb. Let the walls you built to survive begin to soften in my presence. You do not need them with me, because I am your shield, your refuge, your hiding place. I know how hard it hath been for you to trust, especially when trust hath been broken by those who said they loved you. But hear me, I am not them, and my love does not change, does not fail, does not abandon. I am the one who has watched over you in every season, the one who whispered comfort when you thought you were alone, the one who carried you when you lacked the strength to keep moving. So I say again, come closer, not just with your body, not just with your mind, but with your heart. Bring me your questions, your anger, your doubts, your dreams, your exhaustion, your hopes, your fears. Lay them before me like heavy stones you no longer want to hold. Let me take the weight from your hands so that you can receive what I have been waiting to give you. I am not embarrassed by your weakness. I draw near to it. I am not surprised by your failures. I already knew them and chose you anyway. I am not disappointed in who you are, and I see who you are becoming in my hands. You are not interrupting me. You are not asking too much, and you are not too broken to be restored. In fact, I called you closer precisely because I desire to begin a deeper work in you. There is more to you than what life has shown you so far, more to your story than the chapters you wish you could erase, and more inside you than the world has ever affirmed. So lean in, stay here with me in this place of nearness, and listen with your heart as well as your ears, because as you rest in my presence, I am about to show you what I myself have placed within you from the very beginning. Let me draw your attention inward, because something sacred is stirring beneath the layers you've learned to ignore, and I want you to notice it with a fresh clarity. You've tried to understand yourself through the lens of circumstances, achievements, and disappointments, yet something deeper has been shaping you from the inside long before life ever whispered its opinions about who you should be. There is something within you that did not come from your upbringing, your environment, or your own strength. It was placed there intentionally, woven into you with precision, and it has remained steady even as seasons shifted around you. You have felt it in moments when you sensed there was more to your life than what you could explain, during nights when you felt drawn toward purpose though you had no words for it, and in the quiet tug that has followed you through every year of your journey. This inner place carries a wisdom that doesn't age, a resilience that does not break with pressure, and a longing that points you toward meaning even when your surroundings seem to pull you in the opposite direction. I am speaking to the part of you that has always known there was something different about you, even when you tried to dismiss it. You may have doubted your abilities, questioned your worth, or wondered whether the desires buried deep in your heart were unrealistic. But the truth is that you were born carrying something meant to outlast every storm and every season. This inner seed holds direction, identity, and clarity, and I placed it within you not as an ornament but as a blueprint. Even when you felt unprepared or lost, this inner design was guiding you, shaping how you saw the world and how you felt the world pressing back on you. You may not have recognized this inner presence during your hardest moments, but it was present in every decision, every step, and every moment you pushed through when quitting felt easier. What I placed in you as depth, intention, and sacred strength, and it will rise to the surface as you learn to trust the quiet voice that speaks beneath the noise of your doubts. Let your attention settle there, because once you acknowledge this truth, you will begin to understand why the world has never fully satisfied you and why your heart has always reached toward something beyond the surface. Pay close attention, because what has been overlooked within you is far more valuable than what you have tried to pursue outside of yourself. Life has demanded so much from you that parts of your inner strength have gone unnoticed, and the pressures you endured caused you to push aside aspects of your own identity in order to survive. Somewhere along the way, you began to measure yourself by exhaustion rather than potential, by what you lost rather than what remained within you. You adapted to challenges that drained you, and in that process, you forgot that there is a reservoir inside you that has not run dry. You have walked through days when you searched for meaning in places that could not offer it, hoping someone or something would confirm what you secretly feared you had lost. Yet the truth is that nothing capable of shaping your destiny ever slipped from your grasp. You carry instincts that guided you even when confusion filled your mind, insights that nudged you when logic failed, and an inner stirring that kept you moving when circumstances told you to stop. These things were never erased. They simply sank beneath layers of responsibilities, expectations, and emotional weight. The world taught you to focus on what you lacked, but I am reminding you of what has remained unshaken within you. Think of the moments when you felt a sudden strength rise in the middle of chaos, the unexpected peace that arrived when everything seemed unstable, or the quiet confidence that appeared just when fear attempted to silence you. These moments were reminders of what you carry, even when you weren't aware of it. Your past struggles may have convinced you that your inner fire dimmed, but nothing placed in you with intention ever disappears. It may rest, it may grow quiet, it may withdraw while you heal, but it does not die. You carry courage shaped by your battles, wisdom strengthened by reflection, and clarity waiting to be uncovered. The only reason it feels distant is because you were never taught to look inward with the reverence your soul deserves. What you carry is not ordinary, fragile, or temporary. It is steady, powerful, and deeply connected to the identity you were designed to walk in. Let this awareness awaken something in you, because remembering what you carry is the beginning of reclaiming what you once thought was gone. Let me open your eyes to something you may have misinterpreted, because the inner restlessness you've been feeling has not been a sign of instability, emptiness, or dissatisfaction. It has been the stirring of your spirit, urging you toward a depth you have not yet experienced. When you felt unsettled in situations that once felt comfortable, something greater was awakening within you. When old desires no longer satisfied you, your spirit began responding to a call that comes from a place deeper than logic or emotion. You have noticed moments when your heart felt pulled toward change, even when you could not explain why. The places that once held your attention began to lose their grip, because your inner life was shifting toward a new season of growth. These stirrings were not random impulses. They were intentional movements designed to draw you away from what limited you and toward what could expand you. Every time you sensed an urge to reevaluate your path, it was not because you failed in your previous steps, but because your spirit was preparing you for what comes next. You sensed it during long nights when sleep felt distant, and your thoughts wandered toward possibilities you rarely allowed yourself to imagine. You sensed it during conversations when a simple phrase pierced your heart unexpectedly, leaving you with a feeling you couldn't quite explain. You sensed it when the familiar no longer felt safe and the new felt strangely magnetic. These moments were my way of shifting your inner compass, guiding you through a transformation unfolding beneath the surface. Your spirit has been responding to this movement with quiet enthusiasm, even when your mind felt hesitant. What seemed like confusion was actually alignment happening in a deeper place. What felt like restlessness was preparation. What appeared as discomfort was expansion. And each stirring was meant to draw your attention to the truth that you are entering a season where you will no longer live on autopilot or settle for what drains you. Instead, you are learning to listen to the voice that resonates within you more clearly than the voices surrounding you. Let this awareness settle into you now, because recognizing the stirrings within you will strengthen your ability to walk with confidence into the transformation unfolding ahead of you. You need to hear this clearly, because the weight you've been carrying has convinced you that getting through the day is the best you can offer. Yet I shaped you with a design that reaches far beyond mere endurance. Look at how you've navigated seasons that tried to drain you. Look at the strength you showed even when your spirit felt tired and your heart felt stretched thin. You've learned to function while carrying burdens that were never meant to define your identity, and you've pushed forward through moments that left you feeling unseen or overlooked. Although survival taught you resilience, it was never the full expression of who you were created to be. You sense this truth when something within you resists settling for a life that only mirrors repetition or routine. You sense it when your thoughts drift toward possibilities you have not yet tried, or when your heart reacts to moments that remind you of the passion you used to carry before the world grew heavy around you. That inner response is evidence of your design, because I did not breathe life into you to remain locked in patterns that restrict your potential. There have been days when you accepted limitations as final because the path forward looked unclear, and you grew used to holding your breath emotionally, waiting for life to ease before you allowed yourself to hope again. Yet even in those moments, parts of you kept whispering that there must be more than the cycle of obligations you've grown accustomed to. That whisper did not come from disappointment. It was a compass pointing you toward purpose. You were created with intention, woven with capabilities that go far deeper than the roles you've played to keep life functioning. The dreams you once carried did not dissolve. They pressed against your spirit because they were never meant to be discarded. Your personality, your gifts, your inner passions, they were shaped to express something meaningful in the world, something that reflects depth, insight, and compassion. You've gone through hardships that developed qualities in you that cannot be replicated, empathy shaped by loss, discernment sharpened through experience, and courage refined by adversity. These qualities are not the marks of someone who merely survives. They belong to someone capable of influencing the atmosphere around them in a way that brings clarity, hope, and strength to others. The world around you has limited ways of defining success, but your inner life responds to a much higher calling. It nudges you forward when your mind tries to retreat, and it urges you to rise above environments that feel confining. You were formed with layers of purpose that cannot be expressed while living on autopilot. The longing you feel for a deeper life is not a flaw. It is evidence of your design. You were made to experience connection that nourishes you, work that brings meaning, relationships that reflect authenticity, and a path that aligns with what your soul was shaped to carry. Your life was never meant to be reduced to survival. You were meant to rise into a life where your inner strength, creativity, compassion, and purpose can fully breathe. Let me draw back the curtain from places where deception has tried to shape the way you see yourself, because much of what you've struggled with internally has been influenced by forces that sought to limit you long before you realized it. There have been seasons when your confidence dissolved without clear explanation, and moments when fear rose up even when nothing around you justified such intensity. These battles were not signs of weakness. They were attempts to distort your vision so you would overlook the strength woven into you. Whenever discouragement settled in your mind with unusual weight, it was not coincidence. Whenever a sense of inadequacy crept in during seasons when progress was possible, something sought to turn your attention inward in a way that drained your belief in yourself. These influences often appeared subtle, quiet thoughts that sounded like your own voice, familiar insecurities that resurfaced without warning, or sudden doubts that contradicted your logic. The aim was never to destroy you physically, but to distract you from recognizing who you are becoming. If your focus could be clouded, your decisions would be shaped by fear rather than clarity. If your value could be questioned, your steps would shrink instead of expand. You have walked through periods where negative narratives seemed easier to accept than the truth of your potential, and this happened because discouragement often speaks louder when you are on the verge of growth. There were people who unintentionally reinforced these doubts and circumstances that appeared to confirm them, but the root was deeper than external voices. It was a strategy to keep you from discovering the confidence and wisdom that have been forming within you throughout every difficult chapter you survived. Yet you continued forward despite this opposition, because something inside you refused to surrender completely. That resilience did not come from external validation. It came from the spark within you that cannot be extinguished by confusion or fear. Each time you rose after disappointment, your vision sharpened slightly. Each time you questioned the lies that circled your thoughts, your spirit gained ground. You've already resisted more than you realize. The moments when you felt overwhelmed did not mark defeat. They marked the turning point in your awareness. You are beginning to see yourself with renewed clarity, and this shift is threatening to everything that once tried to hold you back. You are noticing patterns that previously went undetected. You are questioning beliefs that once controlled your decisions. You are recognizing that much of the heaviness you carried was never evidence of failure, but evidence of a battle you were winning unknowingly. The clouds that once fogged your identity are thinning, and as they fade, you will understand how powerful you truly are. Pay attention to the subtle clarity forming in you, because the heaviness that once filled your thoughts is beginning to lift in ways you did not expect. Even during times when you felt stuck or uncertain, a gradual brightness has been moving toward you, revealing aspects of yourself that were hidden behind discouragement. This light is not arriving all at once. It is entering through moments of realization, through conversations that give sudden insight, and through quiet shifts in your perspective that show you a new way forward. You might not have recognized it immediately, but each time your mind pushed away thoughts that drained you, or each time your heart felt drawn toward hope after a long period of discouragement, The light was moving closer. This change is happening internally before it appears outwardly. You've noticed glimpses of it when you felt a renewed desire to take care of your well-being, or when a familiar fear no longer carried the same intensity. You've sensed it during moments when clarity surfaced unexpectedly and brought direction to areas that once felt confusing. You've seen it in your response to challenges. You are beginning to handle difficulties with more steadiness and less fear because something in you recognizes that you are not standing alone. The light that is breaking through is revealing strengths that were overshadowed during harder seasons, and it is softening places within you that felt hardened by disappointment. This inner illumination does not require you to be perfect or prepared. It grows simply because you are becoming open enough to allow truth to replace the false narratives that once directed your choices. You may still feel uncertain at times, but uncertainty does not diminish the progress taking place within you. Light always begins quietly, and its presence expands steadily until it becomes undeniable. What you are experiencing now is the beginning of a transformation that will bring clarity to your relationships, your purpose, your decisions, and your overall sense of direction. You will begin to see possibilities where you once saw barriers. You will feel peace in situations that previously stirred anxiety. You will discover that your internal strength rises naturally as you allow this clarity to settle in your mind and heart. The shadows that once shaped your perception no longer have the same influence because they cannot withstand what is awakening within you. Let this process continue without rushing it, because the light breaking through you is revealing who you have been all along. Something within you has been glowing quietly, even during seasons when you believed there was nothing left in you to offer. And I want you to notice that inner radiance with fresh awareness. Think back to moments when exhaustion pressed on you, and yet some part of you refused to give up. Consider the times when your compassion surfaced even after disappointment, or when your longing for meaning grew stronger instead of fading away. These moments were not random flickers of emotion. They were the evidence of a spark I placed in the core of your being. This spark carries a strength that continues to shine even when you experience confusion about your identity or direction. You have felt it during late nights when hope whispered to you despite your doubts, and during quiet mornings when you sensed a pull towards something deeper than routine. That inner spark is not fragile, although you may have assumed it was. Life may have covered it with layers of fear or heaviness, but it never dimmed beyond restoration. It is present when you sense a deeper truth rising within you, urging you to look beyond the limitations placed on you by past failures or the opinions of others. You carry an inner light that does not respond to pressure by breaking. It responds by calling you higher. This spark gives you clarity at unexpected moments, guiding you through decisions even when your mind feels uncertain. It strengthens your intuition, shapes your compassion, and fuels your resilience. There have been times when you felt unworthy of anything meaningful, yet the spark kept reminding you that there is more to your identity than what circumstances have told you. You have reached for hope even when your emotions felt hollow, and that reaching came from the flame within you nudging you toward growth. It hath been guiding your steps long before you recognized its presence. It has kept your heart soft when bitterness tried to take root, and it has protected your inner world from the full weight of disappointment. This spark is the reason you sense that your life has greater depth than what you've experienced so far. Let this awareness settle deeply within you, because understanding that you carry this divine spark will shift the way you engage with the world. You are not defined by setbacks, because something in you always rises again. You are not limited by what others perceive, because the spark inside you carries insight they cannot see. You will continue to feel this inner warmth growing stronger as you align with the truth of who you are becoming. Trust what stirs within you, because the spark will guide you toward possibilities that reflect your true identity, illuminating the path in ways external guidance never could. Notice how your heart reacts in moments when clarity suddenly falls into place or when a sense of peace emerges without explanation, because these experiences reveal how deeply your inner spark responds whenever truth, purpose, or sacred direction touches your spirit. You have felt this during times when you heard something that resonated so strongly it felt as if the words were already familiar to you, even though you had never encountered them before. That sense of recognition did not come from memory, it came from alignment. When your spirit recognizes a deeper truth, it reacts instantly, because the spark within you was created to respond to the guidance that comes from beyond your own understanding. This is why certain moments linger in your mind long after they pass. A simple conversation may leave you with a clarity you didn't expect, or a quiet thought may rise within you with a weight that feels different from ordinary thinking. This internal shift is not a coincidence. The spark inside you listens differently from your mind. It listens with a sensitivity that can detect authenticity, purpose, and direction before your reasoning can fully interpret it. When you encounter something meant to guide you forward, the spark draws your attention toward it through an inner pull that feels both gentle and undeniable. Even when you doubted yourself, this spark responded to every moment that carried truth capable of lifting you out of fear or confusion. You sensed its movement during situations when you felt compelled to reconsider a decision, or when you experienced a sudden conviction that pushed you away from something harmful. Other times, it has drawn you toward opportunities you felt unqualified for yet deeply connected to. This responsiveness is part of your design, allowing you to navigate life with a depth of intuition that cannot be manufactured through effort alone. You have noticed this spark speaking most clearly when you are quiet, reflective, or emotionally open. In moments of surrender, when you allow yourself to breathe honestly, the spark becomes even more receptive to guidance. It shines brighter when you choose truth instead of fear, and it strengthens whenever you grow in courage or compassion. Its sensitivity is not weakness. It is one of your greatest strengths, enabling you to perceive direction long before you see tangible evidence. Let yourself trust the way this inner spark responds, because its reactions are not random. Each stirring, each moment of clarity, each internal shift is aligned with a path meant to reveal a fuller expression of your identity. When you honor those moments, the spark within you grows stronger, guiding you toward choices that reflect who you are becoming rather than who you once believed you had to be. There is a truth that must settle deeply into your understanding, because you have walked through challenges that convinced you the opposition in your life was larger than your inner capacity. Yet the strength within you has always exceeded the obstacles you faced, even when you felt overwhelmed by pressure or uncertainty. Look back at moments when you endured seasons that were supposed to break you. You may have felt fragile, tired, or discouraged, but you continued forward in ways you couldn't fully explain. That forward movement came from the resilience woven into you. Resilience that remains steady even when you question your ability to keep going. Your past does not reveal a pattern of defeat. It reveals a record of endurance. You have overcome internal battles that no one saw, battles that required more courage than the visible challenges ever demanded. The strength inside you is not loud or dramatic. It is steady, grounded, and deeply rooted. Each time you rose after disappointment, you demonstrated a capacity far greater than the circumstances trying to pull you down. External resistance may have attempted to intimidate you, but your inner strength has been quietly expanding with each experience. There were moments when fear tempted you to shrink back, yet you continued to make decisions that aligned with growth. That is strength. There were days when your emotions felt unsteady, yet you treated others with compassion even when your own heart needed healing. That is strength. There were seasons when you felt isolated, yet you reached for purpose when it would have been easier to withdraw. That is strength. You have underestimated this quality within yourself because it has become familiar to you, but familiarity does not make it any less powerful. The challenges against you have relied on distraction, discouragement, and exhaustion to weaken your resolve, because they cannot overpower what is inside you. They can only attempt to convince you that your inner strength is smaller than it truly is. But every time you chose honesty over avoidance, growth over stagnation, or hope over fear, the truth of your strength became more evident. You are not standing empty-handed in the face of opposition. You are carrying a depth of resilience that has already proven its ability to withstand storms. Let this realization take root. The forces that pressed against you did not define you. They revealed the magnitude of what you carry within. Your strength is not something you need to search for, recreate, or imitate. It is already present, already active, already guiding you toward wholeness. As you become aware of it, you will begin to walk with greater confidence, recognizing that no external pressure can overcome the power that has carried you through every season of your life. Let me bring your attention to something quietly expanding within you, because there are parts of your identity, your purpose, and your future that you have only glimpsed through the smallest cracks in your understanding. You have sensed possibilities without having language for them, and you have felt an inner pull toward growth even when you didn't know what direction it was leading you. This feeling has visited you during moments when your thoughts drifted toward dreams you once set aside, or when an unexpected idea stirred something alive inside you. These experiences were not random. They were signs that there is more within you waiting to be revealed. You have walked through enough life to see how certain experiences connected in ways you didn't expect, yet many parts of your story are still unfolding beyond what your eyes can perceive. Even the challenges you faced carried details that will make sense later, as they prepared you for the very things you thought you were unqualified to handle. There are layers within your spirit that have not yet been explored, strengths that have not yet been expressed, and possibilities that are only beginning to form. You've often looked at yourself through the lens of your current circumstances, but the potential nestled inside you stretches far beyond the limits created by your environment or your past. You may look at your journey and see delays, setbacks, and unanswered questions, but I see a story with chapters you haven't opened yet. Some of these chapters contain gifts you have not recognized, creativity you have not embraced, and paths you have not imagined. You have perceived only fragments of what is inside you, because much of it becomes visible only when the timing aligns with your readiness. You might not understand why certain desires awaken suddenly, or why certain opportunities catch your attention as if they were designed specifically for your soul. These moments occur because something within you is awakening in sync with what I am preparing ahead of you. Your spirit feels the pull before your mind understands it. The more you listen inwardly, the more you will notice that clarity is rising in subtle but unmistakable ways. What you once dismissed as coincidence will reveal itself as direction. What you once viewed as uncertainty will become opportunity. And what you once interpreted as stagnation will be recognized as preparation. Allow me to unfold these deeper truths at the pace your heart can carry. You don't need to force progress, rush healing, or demand answers. What is within you will surface naturally as you stay open to what I whisper into your awareness. The unfolding will not overwhelm you. It will strengthen you. Every part of your inner life will begin to align with what I have been shaping in you from the beginning. You will soon see that the things you haven't seen yet are not distant. They are rising within you now, ready to reshape the way you see your place in the world. Something powerful has been developing beneath the surface of your life, and it becomes clearer when you reflect on how you've handled the seasons that tested your endurance. There were moments when you felt stretched beyond your limits, yet you remained standing in ways even you didn't fully understand. This capacity didn't appear out of nowhere. It hath been forming over years of experience, shaping you into someone capable of handling far more than you realize. Much of your strength has gone unnoticed because it doesn't always appear dramatic. It shows up in quiet decisions, subtle shifts in your perspective, and the way you keep moving forward even when fatigue tries to discourage you. There is a part of you that rises instinctively when life becomes uncertain, a part that seeks solutions, understanding, or growth instead of surrender. This instinct is drawn from strength you haven't fully acknowledged. You have endured situations that would have fractured others, and yet your heart continues to seek healing instead of closure born from bitterness. This resilience is not accidental. It reflects the unexpressed capacity within you that keeps expanding with each season you walk through. Even in moments when you felt weak, your actions showed strength. Even when your emotions wavered, your choices pointed toward perseverance. That is evidence of the depth that lives in you. You have not even begun to tap into everything you carry. There is insight in you that will surface when you face new challenges. There is courage in you that will awaken when you step into unfamiliar spaces. There is wisdom in you that will guide decisions far more significant than the ones you've made in the past. The strength you have displayed so far is only a preview of the strength that will emerge as you continue your journey. You will discover it when you take steps toward goals you once thought were unreachable. You will feel it rising when you confront fears that once silenced your confidence. You will recognize it when you look back and realize how much you endured while still holding on to compassion. This strength does not depend on circumstances aligning or people supporting you. It exists independently, anchored within your identity. The more you trust what is unfolding inside you, the more this strength will reveal itself in practical ways. You will notice yourself responding differently to pressure, less shaken, more grounded. You will find clarity in moments where confusion once dominated your thoughts. You will feel peace in situations where you once felt overwhelmed. As this untapped strength rises, you will understand that it has been with you all along, waiting for the moments when you would finally see yourself as capable, steady, and prepared for the path ahead. There is a depth within you that has been overlooked not because it is absent, but because life has kept you too busy surviving to recognize how much you've learned along the way. Every season you've walked through, every disappointment, every victory, every moment of reflection has contributed to a reservoir of insight that is far richer than you give yourself credit for. You have gathered wisdom in quiet moments when you evaluated your choices, in difficult situations when you learned to set boundaries, and in reflective seasons when you realized what truly matters. These experiences shaped an inner understanding that will become increasingly visible as you navigate new chapters of your life. This wisdom often speaks through subtle instincts. It appears when something feels off even if you can't explain why. It rises when a decision doesn't sit comfortably in your spirit, signaling that a different path would align better with your growth. It becomes evident when you offer advice to others and realize that your words carry more insight than you anticipated. You have learned from your mistakes as well as your successes, and these lessons formed a quiet intelligence that guides your choices even when you're not consciously aware of it. There have been moments when you questioned your judgment, yet your decisions ultimately led to clarity or healing. This is not coincidence. The wisdom within you has been guiding your steps through intuition, reflection, and discernment. It continues to grow each time you choose honesty over avoidance, self-awareness over impulsiveness, and responsibility over regret. What you carry isn't head knowledge, it's heart knowledge born from experience, empathy, and self-awareness. You will soon recognize how valuable this wisdom truly is. It will help you navigate situations that require patience, understanding, and strategic thinking. It will protect you from repeating past patterns by helping you identify subtle warning signs you once ignored. It will help you build relationships that align with your values and release relationships that drain your spirit. This wisdom will guide your professional decisions, emotional boundaries, and personal growth. As this wisdom rises to the surface, you will begin to trust yourself more deeply. You will notice how naturally you sense the right timing for decisions, the right path to follow, and the right people to invest your energy in. Your confidence will grow not from external validation, but from the certainty that your inner compass is reliable. What you carry inside you is not ordinary insight. It is wisdom shaped by lived experience, strengthened by reflection, and aligned with the deeper truths forming your identity. You will see it more clearly as you continue forward, and it will become one of your greatest strengths. There is a boldness inside you that has been quietly gathering strength, and it reveals itself most clearly in the moments when you face situations that seem larger than your ability. You may believe you've lived much of your life in caution or hesitation, yet every time you confront an uncertainty and refused to let fear make your decisions for you, that courage kept rising. Even the times when you felt nervous, unsure, or overwhelmed, something within you still moved forward. That motion, no matter how small it looked on the surface, was evidence of an inner bravery that has not yet fully unfolded. Your courage has never depended on feeling fearless. It reveals itself through choices, not emotions. When you showed up despite being worried about the outcome, courage was active. When you voiced the truth even though silence would have been easier, courage guided your voice. When you stood your ground in situations where your heart felt vulnerable, inner bravery shaped your conviction. Many of the challenges you walked through were not meant to crush your spirit. They were opportunities for your courage to develop quietly. Each time you faced discomfort, adversity, or loss, your internal strength pushed against fear's boundaries, widening your capacity to endure and respond with clarity. This expansion often happened without your awareness. You didn't notice the shift because it grew gradually, like roots strengthening beneath the soil long before the branches are visible. Now, this courage is ready to emerge in a more intentional way. You will notice it in the choices you are beginning to consider, the dreams resurfacing in your heart, and the goals that once intimidated you now feeling strangely possible. The courage inside you is not reckless or impulsive. It is wise, grounded, and deeply connected to your purpose. It will empower you to navigate conversations that once felt overwhelming, to step into opportunities that previously seemed too large, and to release patterns that have held you back for years. This courage is also tied to your compassion, allowing you to show strength without losing your softness. You will begin to feel this courage rising in the coming seasons, subtle at first, and steadily increasing until you find yourself doing things that once seemed improbable. Let this courage come forward naturally. There is no need to push yourself into rushed decisions. Courage is not measured by dramatic actions. It grows through alignment with the truth of who you are becoming. Each time you choose growth over avoidance, courage expands. Each time you trust your inner wisdom despite uncertainty, courage strengthens. And each time you walk with authenticity, even when it challenges your environment, courage deepens its roots. What you carry within you is not a shallow or temporary bravery. It is a lasting strength shaped by all you have endured, ready to guide you into the next chapter of your life with confidence and clarity. Something within you has been waiting patiently for expression, and these gifts, though quiet, have been shaping the way you see the world, respond to others, and navigate the rhythms of life. They are not random abilities or traits. They are purposeful threads woven into your identity from the beginning. Some of these gifts showed early signs in your childhood, appearing through your curiosity, unusual sensitivity, or the ease with which you understood things others overlooked. Yet as you grew and responsibilities increased, those early stirrings faded into the background. They never disappeared. They simply rested beneath the surface, waiting for the right season to awaken. Your gifts reveal themselves when something inside you reacts to a challenge with unexpected insight, or when you step into situations that seem ordinary but your presence brings meaning or healing. They show up through your ability to understand people's emotions intuitively, or your talent for offering clarity even when you feel uncertain personally. Your creative instincts, whether expressed through problem solving, compassion, leadership, artistry, or communication, reflect gifts that have been quietly developing even when life demanded your attention elsewhere. You may have questioned whether these inner stirrings truly mattered, especially during seasons when practicality overshadowed passion. But the gifts within you were not placed there for convenience. They were designed to serve as part of your purpose. As your inner awareness deepens, these gifts will begin to rise more visibly. You will notice ideas arriving with greater frequency, inspiration flowing more naturally, and interests resurfacing that once brought you joy. You will find yourself drawn to opportunities that align with these dormant abilities, and your confidence will grow as you begin to use them intentionally. Many of these gifts will surprise you by revealing new dimensions of your identity. You may discover leadership qualities you didn't know you possessed, or creative capacities that were never nurtured earlier. You may find healing or relational wisdom flowing from you in moments you didn't expect. This awakening will not feel forced. It will feel like remembering something familiar, as though these gifts were always part of you but hidden beneath layers of busyness, self-doubt, or fear. As they emerge, you will begin to walk with a sense of alignment you haven't experienced before. The world around you will respond to these gifts because they carry weight, meaning, and purpose. What has been dormant is preparing to rise, and as it does, your life will expand in ways that reflect the depth I placed within you from the very beginning. There is a tenderness within you that did not come easily. It was shaped through difficult seasons, emotional valleys, and experiences that left marks on your heart. While others may see your kindness or your ability to understand people deeply, they do not always recognize the journey that created such compassion. You learned empathy not through comfort but through pain. The wounds you endured, whether from loss, betrayal, disappointment, or loneliness, softened parts of you that could have grown hardened. Instead of closing off your heart completely, you gained an ability to feel what others feel, to sense unspoken emotions, and to respond with grace even when your own heart was still healing. This compassion is not weakness. It is one of your greatest strengths. It allows you to build connections that feel authentic and meaningful. It enables you to comfort others with insight that comes from lived experience. You can recognize when someone is struggling because your own journey has taught you the subtle language of pain. You have learned the value of listening without judgment, offering presence instead of solutions, and creating space for others to breathe when life feels heavy. These abilities did not come through ease. They formed because you endured moments that could have broken you, yet instead they expanded your capacity to love. You may not always appreciate the depth of this compassion because it feels natural to you, but understand that not everyone responds to life the way you do. Your wounds taught you to care more carefully, speak more gently, and relate more deeply. This compassion has shaped the way you treat others, but it has also shaped the way you see yourself. You've learned to recognize pain even in your own thoughts and to approach your healing with patience, even when it feels slow. As your journey continues, this compassion will begin to play a larger role in your purpose. It will guide you toward relationships, opportunities, and environments where your presence brings comfort or clarity. It will influence your decisions, helping you choose paths that align with emotional truth rather than external pressure. And it will deepen your ability to connect with others in ways that foster healing, trust, and renewal. Your wounds have not ruined you. They have refined you. They have taught you sensitivity, strength, and understanding. They have equipped you to carry a level of compassion that reaches beyond surface level and touches the core of people's hearts. What once hurt you is now shaping the way you bring healing to the world around you, and this part of your journey will only grow richer as your story unfolds. You may not fully see it yet, but the strength that lives within you has been shaped through pressures that could have crushed you, and this resilience is far greater than anything you have acknowledged. Think of the moments when you sat with burdens that felt too heavy, when days blended into each other under the weight of disappointment or confusion, when you tried to hold yourself together even though your emotions felt scattered. You survived experiences that seemed unfair, overwhelming, or deeply painful, and although you sometimes question whether you were truly healing, something within you was maturing in ways only adversity can produce. Resilience does not appear through ease. It grows through seasons where you learn to breathe through uncertainty and to find an inner stability even when everything external felt unstable. This inner resilience is visible in the way you continued to search for meaning despite not having answers. It is visible in the way you kept trying when previous attempts left you feeling discouraged. It is visible in the choices you made to move forward instead of settling into defeat. You may not give yourself enough credit, but the person you are today carries layers of strength that were shaped through every moment you wished things were different, yet still chose to continue. This resilience is what enabled you to endure emotional storms without losing your compassion, navigate transitions without losing your sense of purpose, and stand in vulnerability without losing your authenticity. The fires you walked through did not burn away your identity, they refined it. They burned off illusions that once defined you, removed attachments that limited your growth, and softened parts of you that needed tenderness to understand the hearts of others. Every challenge reshaped your perspective, helped you value what truly matters, and strengthened your ability to trust even when fear tried to hold you back. This resilience will guide you into the chapters ahead, allowing you to stand firm when life shifts unexpectedly and helping you respond to pressure with clarity instead of panic. You are entering a season where you will begin to feel the strength you gained from your past trials. You will find yourself handling situations that once overwhelmed you with surprising ease. You will notice your emotions settling more quickly, your thoughts becoming more grounded, and your perspective widening in ways that allow you to see beyond the moment. The resilience forged in you will not only carry you, it will inspire others. People who once dismissed your quiet endurance will begin to see the depth and maturity you developed through your journey. And as you continue to grow, you will recognize that every fire you walked through was shaping you for a future that requires exactly the resilience that now lives within you. There are longings in your heart that you barely remember speaking aloud, desires you whispered during moments of vulnerability, and hopes that rose in you during seasons when you felt too weak to articulate them fully. These prayers did not disappear just because time passed or circumstances shifted. They did not fade simply because you convinced yourself that what you asked for was too big, too complicated, or too delayed. These prayers settled into the deepest place within your spirit, becoming part of your inner landscape. You carry them without realizing it, and they continue to influence your thoughts, desires, and decisions in subtle but meaningful ways. Think back to nights when you asked for strength without knowing how it would come. Think of the mornings when you prayed for direction even though you felt lost. Think of the seasons when you asked for healing, love, peace, or clarity. These prayers were not forgotten by me, and they were not abandoned by you. They became part of your inner journey. When you felt sudden encouragement in a moment of discouragement, it was connected to those forgotten prayers. When clarity arrived unexpectedly, or when peace began to settle in places that once felt chaotic, it was evidence that your deepest longings were still active, still unfolding. Some of the opportunities that approach you in the coming chapters will be connected to these long-forgotten requests. You may feel drawn to new environments, relationships, or responsibilities without immediately understanding why. Yet beneath the surface, your soul recognizes that these moments align with prayers you whispered years ago. There are desires you carry that you stopped believing were possible, yet they continue to live inside you, quietly shaping your direction. You will soon realize that the longing you feel for more meaning, more connection, or more purpose is tied to something you once asked for with pure sincerity. These prayers remain alive because they were rooted in truth, in genuine need, or in a desire for growth. Your spirit remembers what your mind has forgotten, and it continues to move you toward the fulfillment of these deeper requests. Some answers require time because they involve shaping you, preparing you, or aligning circumstances in ways you could not have imagined. But nothing you asked for with sincerity has vanished. Every whisper reached me. Every longing was heard. And everything you hoped for in truth has been carried forward until the moment it aligns with your readiness. You carry these prayers within you even now, and as life unfolds, you will begin to see how beautifully the answers are finding their place. There are promises woven into your life that have not yet taken form, and these unfulfilled promises are not evidence of neglect or distance. They are signs of timing. You have sensed these promises in moments when hope unexpectedly rose in your spirit or when you felt drawn toward dreams that seemed out of reach. You may have dismissed these impressions as imagination, but they were glimpses of a future you were designed to experience. Some of the promises over your life were spoken to your heart long before you had the maturity or environment to receive them. Others were revealed slowly, piece by piece, through circumstances that shaped your perspective. These promises have remained active even during seasons when you doubted whether anything meaningful was unfolding in your life. You interpreted delays as denials because you couldn't see how much preparation was taking place beneath the surface. But what is unfolding within you now is connected to promises that have been growing quietly, in ways you didn't realize. A longing for deeper purpose, the desire for healing, the yearning for direction. These are signs that your spirit is responding to the promises still waiting to bloom. If a promise has not yet manifested, it isn't because you failed or missed your chance. It may simply be that your inner growth needed time to align with what the promise requires. Some promises carry responsibilities you weren't ready to shoulder in earlier seasons. Some involve people who were not prepared to enter your life yet. Some require clarity you didn't have until now. And some needed the maturity that only experience, pain, and perseverance could produce. These promises are not fragile or easily lost. They remain steady, waiting for the moment your spirit, your circumstances, and your readiness align. You will begin to see signs of these promises surfacing in the months ahead. Certain doors will open that previously remained shut. Certain desires will gain momentum within you. Certain situations that once felt confusing will suddenly make sense. You will feel a sense of alignment, a recognition that what is happening now connects to something you carried long before you understood its importance. Hold this truth gently. Unfulfilled promises are not empty hopes. They are seeds that sprout when the timing is right. You have not been forgotten. You have not been bypassed. You have not been overlooked. What belongs to you is not lost. It is simply waiting for the moment you are ready to receive it with clarity, confidence, and peace. There is a depth within your experiences that you haven't yet recognized as meaningful, because the moments that shaped you most deeply often felt too personal, too painful, or too ordinary to imagine they could carry value for anyone else. Yet the truth is that your life contains stories capable of bringing clarity, strength, and healing to people you haven't even met. These stories were never meant to stay buried inside you. They were formed through situations that carved empathy into your heart and gave you insight that cannot be learned through ease. You have walked through moments that required you to choose hope even when your circumstances offered little reason for it, and that choice created a testimony, one that carries weight, authority, and compassion. There are chapters of your life that you tried to forget, either because they were painful or because they felt insignificant. But those chapters hold details that connect you to others who are feeling lost, isolated, or overwhelmed right now. Your experiences, both the ones that left scars and the ones that awaken new strength, contain wisdom that others desperately need. You may not realize how rare your perspective has become. You've learned to navigate emotional valleys without losing your ability to feel. You've endured disappointment without turning bitter. You faced uncertainty without surrendering to fear. These are not ordinary traits. They are markers of a story that can inspire others to rise. Your story holds power because it reflects authenticity. People aren't healed by perfection. They are healed by the courage of someone willing to share what they learned in the midst of struggle. You don't need to present your experiences with polished confidence. You only need to speak from the sincerity you already carry. When you reveal the truth about what you've walked through, how you felt, what you struggled with, how you grew, your vulnerability becomes a bridge that allows others to step out of isolation. Your honesty gives them permission to acknowledge their own struggles without shame. As time unfolds, you will begin to notice opportunities to share parts of your story in ways that feel natural, not forced. You may find yourself comforting someone in a way that surprises you. You might speak words that seem to flow effortlessly, offering clarity that comes from experiences you once thought were meaningless. You will recognize that your story has been shaping your ability to connect, understand, and guide others in profound ways. You carry stories that can break cycles, ease burdens, and ignite hope in places where hope has grown dim. These stories will not only heal others, they will deepen your understanding of your own strength, resilience, and purpose. What once seemed like scattered pieces of your journey will reveal themselves as a tapestry designed to bring healing beyond your own life. There is a stirring taking place within you that signals a shift in how the deepest parts of your identity will rise to the surface. You may feel a quiet anticipation without a clear reason, or a sense that something within you is stretching, preparing, or changing. This inner movement is not random. It marks the beginning of a season where qualities you once overlooked, dreams you once buried, and strengths you once doubted will begin to emerge with clarity. You have carried these things for years, often without recognizing their significance, and now the time has come for them to awaken. This awakening will not be chaotic or overwhelming. It will unfold gently, like a dawn that gradually brightens everything it touches. You will notice new energy filling places that once felt empty. You will sense a shift in your confidence as old fears lose their influence. You will find yourself reacting differently to challenges, with more steadiness and less hesitation. These changes are signs that what has been dormant within you is gaining momentum. Your capacities that were once only potential will begin to function with intention. You will feel more aligned, more grounded, and more aware of who you truly are. There may be moments when the awakening feels unfamiliar or uncomfortable, not because it is wrong, but because growth often stretches parts of you that settled for less. You have adapted to certain limitations, accepted certain beliefs about yourself, and adjusted your expectations based on past hurt. As these inner qualities awaken, those limitations will begin to fall away. Your spirit will resist shrinking back into old patterns, because something deeper is calling you into expansion. Expect to discover gifts you didn't know you had. Expect to feel urges toward opportunities you once avoided. Expect your intuition to sharpen, your clarity to deepen, and your purpose to grow more distinct. This awakening will affect your relationships, your decisions, your habits, and the way you view your future. It will feel like stepping into the version of yourself you were always meant to become, steadily, deliberately, authentically. As this awakening unfolds, you will not be left to navigate it alone. Guidance will meet you in subtle ways, through timely conversations, sudden realizations, or unexpected peace in moments where fear once ruled. Each step will build on the last, creating a sense of direction that feels both natural and profound. The qualities within you that once felt distant or inaccessible will begin to operate with new ease, revealing a strength and depth you always carried but never fully saw. You are stepping into a season where your inner world awakens to its full potential, and what rises from within you will transform every part of your journey. There is a shift I want to bring into your perspective, because the way you see yourself will determine how fully you step into everything that is awakening within you. You have spent years viewing yourself through the lens of past experiences, criticisms, comparisons, and unresolved wounds. These filters have shaped your understanding of your worth, your capabilities, and your purpose. Yet these interpretations often contain distortions, fragments of truth mixed with misunderstandings, judgments from others mixed with doubts from within. Before you can fully embrace the transformation taking place inside you, your perception of yourself needs to be realigned with the truth of who you are becoming. When I see you, I do not look at the moments you regret or the mistakes you wish you could erase. I see the way you continued to rise when circumstances tried to defeat you. I see the compassion that grew in you even after heartbreak. I see the courage that surfaced in you even when you felt afraid. I see the wisdom that formed in you through experiences you didn't choose but survived with grace. Your identity is not defined by your weakest moments. It is shaped by the resilience, growth, and sincerity that emerge from those moments. You often underestimate yourself because you judge your progress by what you can measure externally. Yet the greatest changes within you are internal. Subtle shifts in your thinking, healing in your emotional patterns, expansion in your awareness, and deepening in your character. When you see yourself through my eyes, through the lens of truth rather than criticism, you will recognize that you are not behind, unprepared, or insufficient. You are becoming aligned with your potential. Seeing yourself clearly will not inflate you with pride. It will ground you with purpose. You will begin to understand why certain challenges shaped you, why certain seasons felt heavy, and why certain desires keep returning to your heart. You will see that your journey has been creating someone capable, thoughtful, compassionate, and strong. You will stop disqualifying yourself based on outdated beliefs, because the person you are today is far more mature than the version of you who once struggled to understand your worth. Allow this new vision to settle into you. Let go of the labels that others placed on you and the assumptions you placed on yourself. Look within and recognize the strength, insight, and capacity that have been growing. When you see yourself through my eyes, through the eyes of truth and possibility, you will no longer shrink from opportunities or fear the path ahead. Instead, you will walk with a quiet confidence, knowing that every step aligns with the identity that has been forming within you all along. There is something I want to correct gently within you, because you have carried a quiet fear that you have fallen behind in life, behind in progress, behind in growth, behind in purpose, behind compared to others who seem to move with clarity while you navigate uncertainty. Yet this belief hath been built on illusions shaped by comparison, not truth. You measure yourself by timelines that were never designed for your journey, evaluating your worth through milestones that do not reflect the deeper work unfolding within you. You've watched others move forward in ways that appeared smoother, faster, or more visible, and part of you wondered whether you missed your moment, made too many mistakes, or waited too long. But what you cannot see is the invisible preparation that has been taking place beneath the surface of your life. Every delay has carried purpose. Every pause has served your growth. Every detour has shaped your character in ways you will soon understand. You are not behind, because your journey has been uniquely tailored to the depth of the person you are becoming. Your growth didn't follow conventional timelines because your purpose is not conventional. There is a maturity developing inside you that could never have been rushed. You needed time to heal from wounds that others might not see. You needed space to unlearn beliefs that once held you back. You needed seasons of stillness to listen to parts of yourself that were neglected. You needed experiences that carved wisdom into your perspective. These things do not appear on visible timelines, yet they are the foundation for everything that will unfold next. When you look back later, you will realize that nothing was wasted and nothing was late. What you once interpreted as delay was actually alignment. The connections, opportunities, and clarity you were waiting for needed to mature before they could intersect with your life. If certain things had arrived earlier, they would not have found the version of you who could sustain them. Your spirit needed room to deepen. Your emotions needed space to settle. Your identity needed time to strengthen so that your next steps would not crumble under pressure. Every year, every season, every moment you thought was slow or stagnant has actually contributed to the richness of the person you are now. You have gained insight that many never attain. You have developed understanding that comes only through lived experience. You have cultivated resilience that will carry you farther than quick success ever could. Your timing is not behind. Your timing is aligned with a path that will make sense only when you see how perfectly each piece fits together. Release the pressure that tells you you're late. Embrace the truth that your journey is unfolding exactly as it needs to. And what is ahead of you will reveal why the pace of your path was never a mistake. There are moments when you've looked at your past and wondered whether the decisions you made, the mistakes you regret, or the seasons when you felt disconnected from yourself somehow removed you from the possibilities meant for your life. You've worried that the times you felt lost, distracted, or overwhelmed somehow disqualified you from becoming the person you long to be. But the truth is that nothing in your journey has stripped you of your worth or your calling. Even the parts of your story that feel messy or complicated hold value when you see them through a deeper lens. What you call failure often became the very ground where humility, wisdom, and growth took root. What you call missteps often redirected you toward paths you would have overlooked. What you call wasted seasons often shaped your ability to see clearly, choose wisely, and love deeply. You have not been disqualified because your identity is not based on perfection. It is based on resilience, sincerity, and the willingness to evolve. Every time you rose after disappointment, every time you confronted a truth you once avoided, every time you chose healing instead of bitterness, you strengthened your capacity to carry what is coming next. This is not the story of someone unworthy. This is the story of someone being seasoned for purpose. If your journey had been flawless, your wisdom would lack depth. If everything had come easily, your compassion would remain shallow. If you had avoided mistakes entirely, you would have missed the lessons that are preparing you to stand with steady confidence. The moments you thought would destroy your potential have actually expanded it. They have taught you self-awareness, accountability, discernment, and courage. They have humbled you in ways that make you trustworthy. They have softened you in ways that make you approachable. They have strengthened you in ways that make you capable of carrying influence responsibly. Nothing that happened behind you has discounted what lies ahead of you. In fact, your past has equipped you for the very things you once feared you had forfeited. You are not disqualified because purpose does not break under the weight of imperfection. Purpose grows through it. Your story is still unfolding, and the chapters ahead will reveal why you needed the experiences that once made you doubt yourself. Release the belief that your past holds authority over your future. Walk forward with the understanding that you remain chosen, capable, and aligned with a path that is still very much alive. Your journey is not over. It is entering the stage where everything you learned becomes a foundation for what you will build next. There have been times when you looked within yourself and saw only fatigue, confusion, or numbness. Times when you felt drained by responsibilities, overwhelmed by uncertainty, or disconnected from your own sense of purpose. In those moments, it felt as though you had nothing left to offer, as though your heart had run dry and your spirit had grown quiet. But what you interpreted as emptiness has rarely been emptiness at all. It has often been the quiet space created when old layers within you released their hold, making room for something new to emerge. You have mistaken exhaustion for emptiness, transition for emptiness, healing for emptiness, preparation for emptiness. Yet the truth is that your inner life has always carried far more than you realized. Deep within you, there are ideas waiting to be expressed, desires waiting to be acknowledged, gifts waiting to be awakened. Even when you felt depleted, these parts of you remain present, simply resting until you had the capacity to engage them again. You are not empty because you carry memory, strength, wisdom, compassion, insight, and resilience. Your spirit still responds to truth. Your heart still recognizes beauty. Your mind still reaches for meaning. These are not the traits of an empty soul. They are signs of a fullness that has been overshadowed by temporary weariness. What you feel right now may be a space created for renewal. When the old pathways no longer sustain you, your spirit clears space for new direction. When your emotions release heaviness, your heart creates room for deeper connection. When your mind lets go of outdated beliefs, your inner truth rises with clarity. These processes feel like emptiness only because the change happens quietly. Yet beneath the quiet, there is movement, gentle, deliberate movement guiding you toward expansion. You will begin to notice that your sense of emptiness fades as new thoughts, desires, and inspirations rise. You will feel small sparks of motivation returning. You will sense creativity forming in ways you haven't experienced in a long time. You will find inner strength rising where fatigue once lived. This is not a return to who you used to be. It is the emergence of someone deeper, steadier, and more aligned than before. You are not empty. You are becoming renewed. You are shedding what no longer aligns with your journey and preparing to carry what reflects your true identity. The stillness you feel is not void. It is transformation. As you continue to awaken to what is within you, you will realize that your spirit has been holding far more than you ever imagined. There is a truth I need you to feel deeply, because the loneliness that visited you in certain seasons convinced you of something that was never real. When you walked through circumstances that felt too heavy to explain, or when people you trusted withdrew at the very moment you needed support, it created space for the thought that perhaps you had been abandoned. Yet what you interpreted as absence was often the quiet of a profound internal shift, a space where your heart was being stretched in ways that would prepare you for deeper clarity later. You were never forsaken, not in the nights when your mind felt clouded with uncertainty, not in the moments when you wondered if anyone understood the weight you carried, not in the periods where it seemed like progress stalled while others moved forward. My presence did not retreat during those times. It simply took a form you weren't accustomed to recognizing. I was holding the parts of you that felt too tired to fight, watching over wounds you didn't know how to express, and guiding your steps even when you believed you were wandering without direction. There were experiences in your past that felt like abandonment because human support was inconsistent, unpredictable, or conditional. You internalized those experiences as if they were reflections of your value, but they were reflections of the limitations of others. Your worth was never diminished by someone's inability to stay. You didn't lose my nearness because a relationship ended, a door closed, or a plan shifted unexpectedly. I remain connected to your spirit through every fracture, strengthening you in ways you only now are beginning to understand. You may feel that the silence in those seasons was a sign of distance, but silence often creates the room necessary for inner transformation. When external voices quieted, your spirit began to sense direction in ways you could not identify before. When familiar support was missing, you discovered resilience within yourself that would have remained hidden otherwise. The truth is that you were being shaped, not abandoned. You were learning to hear your own intuition with greater clarity. You were discovering emotional depth that could sustain you through future seasons. You were building a connection to your inner world that would not have developed if life had been easy. Even in the moments when your heart questioned everything, you were never navigating those questions alone. You are still held, still guided, still seen. As your awareness expands, you will begin to recognize details in your story that reveal how supported you truly were. The opportunities that appeared at just the right time, the unexpected insight that surfaced when you needed direction, the strength that rose when discouragement pressed in. These were not coincidences. They were signs of presence that never left you. You are not forsaken now, and you never were. As you continue to move forward, this truth will steady your heart, helping you release the fear that you are walking alone. You are accompanied in every moment, and you always will be. Something within you has been quietly maturing, and now the time is coming for it to rise into your awareness. You may not recognize the full extent of what hath been developing beneath the surface, because growth often begins in hidden places long before it becomes visible. Your mind has wrestled with uncertainty at times, and your heart has felt stretched without explanation. Yet those experiences have been preparing you for an inner unveiling that will shift your understanding of yourself. Think of the way a seed expands underground long before it breaks through the soil. That unseen growth is essential, even though it often looks like nothing is happening. In the same way, your perspective, your emotional capacity, your clarity, and your strength have been deepening quietly. What you interpreted as stagnation was actually the foundation of transformation. There were seasons when you felt restless and couldn't understand why. That restlessness was a sign that your old patterns could no longer contain the person you were becoming. There were desires that resurfaced unexpectedly, stirring dreams you once dismissed. Those desires were indicators of what hath been taking shape within your spirit. There were moments when your intuition sharpened, offering insight that surprised even you. Those were glimpses of the growth ready to reveal itself. As these inner developments come to light, you will begin to understand why you walked through certain challenges. Your experiences shaped a depth that now supports the emerging version of you. When this inner unveiling occurs, it will not overwhelm you. It will feel familiar, as if you are finally meeting the parts of yourself that you sensed but never fully understood. You will notice new confidence rising in situations that once triggered doubt. You will feel more connected to your purpose as old distractions lose their influence. You will recognize how your past struggles prepared you with skills, empathy, and insight that now feel purposeful rather than painful. The things growing within you, wisdom, maturity, clarity, creativity, courage, will begin to manifest in decisions, conversations, and opportunities. This revelation will not happen all at once. It will unfold in stages, allowing you to integrate each layer of growth with balance and intention. You will feel certain shifts first in your spirit, then in your thoughts, then in your choices, and eventually in your surroundings. As you align with what has been forming inside you, life will begin to reflect that change externally. You will move with a sense of inner steadiness that comes from knowing yourself more deeply. And as this growth becomes visible, it will open doors you once thought were closed. What has been growing in you is not small. It is significant, intentional, and perfectly timed. You are stepping into the season where that growth finally rises into the light. There is far more intentionality in your journey than you have realized, and much of it has taken place in silent spaces where you felt overlooked, misunderstood, or uncertain. Those quiet seasons were not empty. They were filled with subtle shaping, internal strengthening, and emotional refinement that could only occur away from the noise of constant activity. You may not have recognized this preparation because it didn't look dramatic. It didn't shout its presence. It didn't announce its purpose. It worked slowly, intentionally, through small moments, choices you made without realizing their importance, lessons you absorbed through difficulty, clarity gained from reflection, healing that unfolded layer by layer. You learned more about yourself in those quiet phases than you ever could have learned in seasons of outward success. During those times, you discovered what drained your spirit and what nourished it. You became aware of the relationships that were harmful and the ones that were grounding. You learned how to identify thoughts that weren't true, even though they felt familiar. You learned what your heart genuinely desires, beyond what you felt pressured to pursue. You developed discernment, not by rushing into new chapters, but by pausing long enough to understand the patterns that once shaped your choices. These inner shifts required stillness. They required space. They required silence. And because you walked through those quiet seasons with resilience, even when you felt unsure, the preparation worked deeply within you. You have grown in ways you didn't notice because the changes happened gradually. Your confidence has been rebuilding. Your emotional patterns have been stabilizing. Your priorities have been shifting toward what aligns with your values. Even your way of seeing yourself has changed, subtly at first, then with increasing clarity. You might look at your life now and feel as though nothing significant has changed, but pay attention to the decisions you are drawn to make, the boundaries you are ready to set, the dreams beginning to resurface, and the peace that feels more available than before. These are signs of the preparation that has been shaping you quietly from within. This preparation will reveal its full purpose as you step into new environments, relationships, and responsibilities. You will notice yourself responding with wisdom you didn't realize you had. You will navigate challenges with composure that surprises even you. You will connect with others in deeper ways because your heart has been strengthened and softened in balanced measure. The quiet seasons did not delay you. They equipped you. They created the foundation for a life you are now ready to step into with intention and confidence. You were being shaped quietly, but the impact of that shaping will soon become unmistakable. There is a quiet transformation occurring within you, and it becomes clearer when you notice how your inner world had been shifting in ways you didn't consciously choose. You may have felt pulled beyond familiar limits, as if something within was expanding even when your life around you appeared unchanged. This stretching has not been comfortable, and at times you interpreted it as restlessness, frustration, or emotional imbalance. Yet what you were experiencing was the widening of your spiritual capacity. Your old ways of thinking no longer fit the person you are becoming. Your old emotional patterns could not contain the new depth forming inside you. Your old beliefs about yourself could not support the emerging truth of your identity. Your spirit has been stretching to make room for wisdom that your previous season could not hold. This inner stretching explains why certain desires no longer satisfy you, even though they once felt meaningful. It explains why routines that used to feel safe suddenly felt restrictive. It explains why old fears no longer carry the same authority, even if they still whisper occasionally. Your spirit is expanding beyond those limitations. You have been outgrowing thought patterns that kept you small, relationships that restricted your growth, and expectations that were built around an earlier version of yourself. These internal shifts often made you feel uncertain because your outer world hadn't caught up yet. But the stretching was necessary, shaping your ability to handle more responsibility, more clarity, more healing, and more purpose. You may not have realized it, but each time you questioned your direction, each time you reevaluated what you truly wanted, and each time you resisted the temptation to settle for less, your spirit expanded. You were learning to hold more truth without collapsing into doubt. You were strengthening your emotional capacity to stay grounded in moments that once overwhelmed you. You were gaining spiritual sensitivity to recognize when something aligned with your purpose and when it did. These changes happened slowly, often unnoticed, but they were preparing you for a life that requires a deeper, wider, more grounded version of yourself. As your spirit continues to stretch, you will notice new possibilities becoming visible. You will sense yourself drawn to opportunities that once felt intimidating. You will feel empowered to release relationships or environments that no longer nurture who you are becoming. You will understand your inner signals more clearly, trusting your intuition with a confidence that grows naturally, not through force. This stretching is not meant to exhaust you. It is meant to prepare you. The expansion happening inside you indicates that your life is shifting into a chapter that matches the depth forming in your soul. You are not falling apart. You are growing beyond the boundaries that once kept you limited. There is a tenderness rising within you, subtle, quiet, and unmistakably transformative, and this softening is not a sign of weakness but a sign of healing. You have walked through seasons where your heart felt guarded, perhaps out of necessity. Past disappointments, broken trust, where long periods of emotional strain encouraged you to create protective layers to survive. These layers helped you endure, but they also kept you from accessing parts of your own depth. Over time, without you even noticing, those layers began to loosen. Your heart started to breathe again in ways it had forgotten. The tightness you once felt began to ease. The heaviness that lingered after old wounds began to lighten. That softening has allowed compassion, empathy, vulnerability, and genuine connection to emerge with greater clarity. You may have seen signs of this softening in the way you now respond to people who once irritated you, or in your ability to forgive situations you once replayed endlessly. You may notice it in your increased patience with yourself, your gentler inner dialogue, or the compassion you feel toward your own past. This shift didn't happen overnight. It unfolded through small choices, choosing healing over bitterness, reflection over avoidance, self-awareness over defensiveness. Your heart softened because it is finally safe enough to do so. You are not the person who needed to build those walls anymore. You've grown. You've learned. You've released emotional burdens that once shaped your reactions. This softening will allow you to experience love, connection, and joy in deeper ways. It will open space for meaningful relationships because your heart is becoming capable of receiving and giving with authenticity rather than fear. It will help you discern people's intentions more clearly, not through suspicion but through emotional clarity. It will bring peace to your inner world, replacing tension that once felt constant. And it will help you make choices with sensitivity instead of self-protection, freeing you to move through life with openness rather than guardedness. A softened heart is not fragile. It is resilient. It has faced the sharpness of life and learned to remain gentle. It has endured disappointment and still believes in hope. It has faced emotional storms and still chooses compassion. Its strength will guide you into relationships, opportunities, and decisions that reflect your growth. Your heart is not returning to its old vulnerability. It is entering a deeper, wiser, stronger tenderness. The softening is one of the clearest signs that healing has been working within you, preparing you for a future where your capacity to love, connect, and live authentically expands more freely than ever before. There are moments when you look back and wonder why certain challenges stretched your beliefs so intensely, why circumstances forced you to confront questions you weren't prepared to answer, or why your confidence wavered even though you wanted desperately to trust. These seasons were not meant to break your faith, they were meant to mature it. When everything around you felt uncertain, the deeper layers of your belief system were being strengthened, reshaped, and refined. Faith does not grow in the absence of difficulty. It grows when your expectations collide with reality and you learn to trust despite the tension. You experienced moments when you questioned your path, doubted your choices, or struggled to understand why certain things unfolded the way they did. But those questions created space for clarity that could not have come through comfort. Your faith expanded through endurance, through letting go, through navigating the unknown, through rebuilding hope when circumstances shook your confidence. Each challenge taught you that trust is not a feeling, it is a posture of the spirit. You learned how to lean inward, how to listen more carefully, how to see beyond the immediate moment, and how to recognize guidance even when it felt subtle. Your faith has been tested because you are growing into someone who will need a stronger foundation for what lies ahead. The deeper your purpose, the stronger your inner grounding must be. Your faith was stretched to break old assumptions, release outdated beliefs, and establish a confidence that cannot be easily shaken. As a result, you will begin to trust yourself more deeply. You will navigate uncertainty with steadiness rather than fear. You will respond to challenges with clarity rather than panic. You will recognize opportunities with discernment rather than hesitation. These tests were not punishments, they were preparation. They helped you see where your fears still held influence, where your trust needed strengthening, and where your growth was ready to unfold. They revealed parts of your heart that needed healing and parts of your spirit that needed awakening. And now, as your faith emerges more grounded than before, you will move forward with a sense of assurance that previously felt unreachable. Your faith is no longer rooted in ideal circumstances. It is rooted in experience, resilience, and truth. And because of that, it will carry you securely into the next chapters of your journey. There is something unfolding around you and within you that is far more intentional than you realize. And I want you to feel the weight of this moment with clarity. You have sensed a shift coming, even if you could not describe it. There were days when your spirit felt restless, and you assumed it was fatigue or frustration. Yet that restlessness was actually the early tremor of transformation. I have been arranging circumstances, shaping your inner world, and aligning your path in ways that may not have made sense at first. Every delay, every redirection, every closed door, every emotional tug, each one has been preparing the foundation for a deeper change that will redefine how you see yourself and how you walk through the world. You have walked through seasons where you felt like you were losing pieces of yourself, but what was actually happening was the removal of what could not travel with you into the next chapter. Transformation rarely announces itself with clarity. It begins quietly, in small shifts within your thoughts, in subtle changes in your desires, in the growing discomfort with what once felt comfortable. You may have wondered why certain old patterns suddenly felt too tight, why certain relationships felt out of alignment, or why certain roles no longer felt like home. These moments were signs of growth, your spirit expanding beyond the confines of a previous season. You are not being put into change, you are being lifted into it. You are being guided toward a version of yourself that carries more wisdom, more courage, more steadiness, and more purpose than you have ever walked in before. Your transformation is not a reaction to your past. It is an unfolding of your potential. I have been shaping your inner world through the lessons you've learned, the resilience you've built, and the insight you've gained through experiences that challenged you deeply. You are stepping into a season where the internal shift becomes external expression. You will find yourself responding differently than before, not out of effort, but out of alignment. You will feel more grounded in your decisions, more confident in your intuition, and more connected to your purpose. The things that once intimidated you will lose their power, and the dreams that once felt distant will begin to feel attainable. Trust what is happening inside you. Trust the timing. Trust the signs your spirit recognizes even when your mind tries to make sense of them. You are being set up for transformation, not a temporary adjustment, but a shift that rewrites the trajectory of your life. And as this transformation unfolds, you will understand why the journey behind you needed to unfold exactly as it did. There is a closeness forming between us that you may have already begun to feel, even in subtle ways you didn't name as sacred. The warmth that rises in your chest during quiet moments, the sudden peace that settles over your mind without explanation, the way certain truths resonate in you more deeply than before. These are signs that my presence is becoming clearer, stronger, and more tangible in your life. This isn't your imagination or wishful thinking. It is the natural outcome of the inner work you have allowed to unfold. As your spirit expands, as your heart softens, as your awareness sharpens, my presence finds more room to be felt, heard, and recognized within you. You have walked through seasons where my presence felt distant, not because I was far away, but because your heart was weighed down with noise, pressure, or pain that made it difficult to sense what was always here. But as clarity returns and emotional weight lifts, you will notice me in places where you once felt alone. My presence will no longer feel like a concept. It will feel like a companion. It will steady you in moments of uncertainty, comfort you in moments of heaviness, and strengthen you in moments of decision. You will begin to sense guidance not as a guess, but as a quiet knowing. You will feel reassurance not as a vague hope, but as a real, inner confidence that settles inside your spirit. This growing awareness will awaken a tenderness within you, a sense of connection, of being held, of being understood. You will no longer wonder whether you are supported. You will feel it. You will no longer question whether you are guided. You will recognize the subtle pull toward what is right. You will no longer see yourself as navigating life alone. You will feel the gentle companionship that has always walked with you. This shift is part of your transformation, because you cannot move into your next chapter with uncertainty about whether you are walking with strength or walking alone. I want you to move with assurance, knowing that you are not unsupported, unnoticed, or unheard. As my presence becomes more tangible to you, you will notice that your anxieties soften, your thoughts quiet more easily, and your emotions become steadier. You will recognize harmony where there was once tension, and direction where there was once confusion. This closeness will not overwhelm you. It will anchor you. And as you become more aware of my presence, you will walk with a peace that does not depend on circumstances and a clarity that no storm can disrupt. There is a refinement happening inside you that will soon allow you to recognize my guidance with a clarity that feels unmistakable. You have spent years learning to differentiate between fear, impulse, desire, and truth. And even though you did not always feel confident in your ability to discern, every difficult decision, every quiet moment of reflection, every attempt you made to listen, even when you weren't sure what you were hearing, has strengthened your spiritual sensitivity. You are not the same person you were years ago. Your inner landscape has matured. Your mind is sharper. Your spirit is quieter. Your emotions are steadier. All of these changes create fertile ground for clarity. You will begin to notice that guidance comes to you in ways that feel familiar yet more distinct. A thought may rise with unusual weight, easily separating itself from the rest. A direction may surface in your heart with a sense of peace that surprises you. Warning may appear in your spirit long before your mind understands why. This clarity will not feel like an external voice. but like a deeper version of your own inner knowing, because my guidance meets you through the language of your spirit. You have already experienced brief moments of this clarity, but it will now become more consistent. You will no longer rely on guesswork or endless internal debates. There will be a calm assurance, a quiet nudge, or an inner alignment that lets you know the way forward. You will notice patterns, how truth feels, how peace feels, how misalignment feels. You will trust those feelings more easily. This doesn't mean you will never face uncertainty, but when uncertainty appears, you will know how to sit with it until clarity emerges. You will not panic the way you once did. You will not feel lost the way you once felt. You will move with steadiness because you will hear with more depth. This clarity will shape your relationships, your decisions, your boundaries, your next steps. It will become one of your greatest strengths. And as you learn to trust what you hear, you will walk with confidence born not from external validation, but from an inner truth that cannot be overshadowed by doubt. You are entering a season where my guidance will feel closer, clearer, and more natural. Not because I have changed, but because you have grown into the capacity to hear me with new depth. There is a steadiness rising within you that you may not fully recognize yet, but you will soon feel it in the way you carry yourself, speak your truth, and move through the world with a clarity that once felt out of reach. This confidence is not loud or boastful. It is a quiet, grounded assurance born from the transformation taking place deep inside you. You have spent years questioning whether you were enough, trying to measure your worth against expectations that were never meant for you. At times you felt uncertain in your decisions, hesitant in your voice, or unsettled in your identity. But those seasons served a purpose. They helped you learn what was not true about yourself so you could begin embracing what has always been true. Your confidence is rising not because external circumstances are changing, but because your internal world is aligning with your identity. This confidence does not come from pretending to be strong. It comes from recognizing the strength already within you. It grows each time you speak honestly, even if your voice shakes. It strengthens each time you choose what aligns with your spirit, even when it contradicts the expectations of others. It deepens each time you trust your intuition rather than relying on the approval of others. This new confidence will show itself in the way you approach challenges, not with fear, but with a sense of capability. You will notice that you no longer shrink in conversations where you once felt small, because you understand your worth without needing validation. You will no longer second-guess the wisdom rising within you, because you have learned to trust the voice that speaks from your spirit. This confidence will reveal itself in your posture, your decisions, your boundaries, and the way you express your truth. It will not make you harsh, it will make you authentic. It will not make you arrogant, it will make you free. And as you walk in this new confidence, opportunities that once felt intimidating will begin to feel aligned. You will recognize doors opening not because you forced them, but because you have finally become the version of yourself who can walk through them with strength and grace. This confidence is part of your transformation, and it will guide you into a future where your steps are steady, your presence is grounded, and your spirit stands firm in who you were always meant to be. There is a strength awakening within you that goes beyond confidence. It is authority, forged from experience, resilience, and spiritual alignment. This authority is not about control or domination. It is about standing firmly in your truth without wavering. You have spent years learning through struggle, reflection, growth, and surrender. These seasons shaped a depth within you that allows you to lead, speak, decide, and influence with wisdom rather than insecurity. The authority rising in you is evidence that you are stepping into a higher level of responsibility and purpose. You may have already sensed it in subtle ways, moments when your voice carried unexpected clarity, moments when your presence shifted the atmosphere of a conversation, moments when others sought your guidance even when you didn't feel ready. These were glimpses of the authority forming within you. This authority will not feel like pressure. It will feel like alignment. You will know when to speak and when to remain silent. You will know when to stand firm and when to release. You will know when to lead and when to support. This authority will come from a deeper awareness of who you are, what you carry, and what you are capable of. It will not rely on titles, validation, or recognition. It will flow naturally from the strength of your spirit. People will notice the change in you, even before you fully understand it yourself. They will sense your steadiness. They will feel your clarity. They will respond to your presence because authenticity holds weight. This authority will help you break old patterns, set healthier boundaries, and walk away from what no longer aligns with your growth. It will guide how you handle relationships, work, opportunities, and challenges. You will begin to speak with conviction, not to be heard, but because truth has become too strong within you to remain silent. This authority will shape your path in ways that surprise you. Doors that remained closed for years will open simply because you now carry the maturity to enter them. Situations that once intimidated you will feel manageable. Problems that once confused you will become clearer. And as you walk in this authority, you will realize that it was never about being perfect. It was about becoming grounded, aligned, wise, and courageous. You are stepping into a season where your authority will not only change your life, it will influence the lives of those around you. There are patterns in your life, emotional, relational, mental, and spiritual, that once felt immovable, yet you are stepping into a season where those cycles will finally lose their power. Some of these cycles formed long before you understood their impact. Others developed through pain, survival, habit, or the influence of people who shaped you during vulnerable times. You replayed certain fears, repeated certain relational dynamics, or carried certain emotional burden because your past taught you to expect them. But now, something deeper is shifting. The awareness you've gained, the strength you've built, the wisdom you now carry, and the healing unfolding within you have created the foundation for breakthrough. You are not the same person who entered these cycles. You have outgrown the mindsets that once held you captive. You have softened the wounds that once dictated your reactions. You have strengthened the parts of yourself that once felt powerless. And because of this internal change, the external patterns can no longer bind you. The breaking of these cycles will not always be loud or dramatic. Sometimes it will happen in a quiet moment when you finally respond differently than you ever have before. Sometimes it will appear when you choose peace over chaos, truth over fear, clarity over confusion, or healing over old habits. You will notice yourself, no longer pulled into the emotional spirals that once controlled you. You will recognize toxic dynamics earlier. You will uphold boundaries you once felt guilty for setting. You will release relationships that drain you instead of trying to fix what was never yours to fix. And with each new choice, a chain breaks, a cycle ends. This is not about willpower. It is about identity. You are becoming someone who no longer aligns with the patterns that shaped your past. You are stepping into freedom that once felt impossible. And as these cycles break, you will feel a lightness returning to your spirit, a clarity returning to your mind, and a hope rising within you that feels unfamiliar but true. You will begin to see that the cycles were never stronger than your destiny. They simply remained unbroken while your spirit was still healing. Now, healed enough to see clearly and strong enough to choose differently, you will break what once felt permanent. And once broken, these cycles will no longer define you. They will no longer shape your decisions. They will no longer limit your future. You are walking into a freedom that will rewrite the trajectory of your life. There is a strength forming within you that has been shaped precisely through the moments when you felt most overwhelmed, and I want you to understand how deeply this rising has been prepared inside your spirit. What once pressed you down, what once made you feel small or defeated, what once convinced you that you had reached the end of your capacity, none of it succeeded in bearing you. Instead, it created the environment where hidden strength could take root, where resilience could deepen, where clarity could emerge in ways that only hardship can produce. You walked through seasons that felt like emotional winters, where nothing seemed to grow, and everything felt cold or barren, yet something within you was quietly absorbing light even in the darkest moments. You carried wounds that felt too heavy, yet those very wounds began healing in ways that taught your heart compassion, taught your mind discernment, taught your spirit endurance. The situations that once felt like they would swallow you no longer have the same authority, because you are rising into a version of yourself that is stronger than anything that tried to break you. This rising is not temporary, nor is it fragile. It is rooted in truth, in the understanding that you survived, that you learned, that you grew, that you discovered parts of yourself you never knew existed. What tried to bury you underestimated the power developing beneath the surface of your soul. The pressure you lived under pushed your roots deeper. The storms you faced strengthened your grounding. The losses you endured expanded your capacity to rebuild. You will rise not as someone trying to escape the past, but as someone who hath been reshaped by it. And this rising will influence how you see everything. Challenges that once intimidated you will now reveal opportunities for growth. Difficult conversations that once stirred fear will now bring clarity. Burdens that once weighed heavily will now feel lighter because you can finally see your own strength. This rising is the moment where the version of you that was formed in hidden places steps forward and begins to shape your life openly. Others may not understand how you found the strength to rise because they did not witness the inner work, the internal strengthening, the quiet battles fought in silence. But you will know. You will feel it in the steadiness of your emotions, in the depth of your insight, in the calmness of your decisions. What tried to bury you has now become part of the soil from which you rise, and the growth that emerges from this place will be undeniable. There are desires within you that have been waiting quietly beneath layers of responsibility, fear, and distraction, and the time has come for those passions to reawaken. These passions are not random interests or fleeting curiosities. They are pieces of your identity that you tucked away because life required you to focus on survival, stability, or healing instead of expression. Yet those passions never died. They remained in the shadows of your heart, surfacing occasionally as daydreams, as sudden sparks of energy, as moments where inspiration stirred without warning. You may have dismissed them as unrealistic, impractical, or ill-timed, but they remain because they were planted in you intentionally. When you were younger, these passions felt natural and effortless. Creativity, curiosity, leadership, compassion, innovation, imagination, problem-solving, nurturing, building, inspiring. As life grew heavier, you pushed them aside, believing you needed to set aside desire to meet the demands of the world. But now, as healing expands in you and your spirit stretches into wider spaces, these passions are rising again, not as a distraction, but as a calling. Your inner world is becoming spacious enough to hold desire and responsibility at the same time. You are beginning to feel subtle nudges toward activities that once brought you joy, and these nudges will grow stronger. You will feel ideas return with clarity instead of confusion. You will feel excitement where there was once numbness. You will feel longing that carries purpose, not pressure. What once felt unrealistic will begin to feel aligned, because the person you are becoming now has the strength, wisdom, and emotional grounding to pursue what your younger self could only imagine. These passions are returning because they are necessary for your purpose. They hold keys to fulfillment, connection, contribution, and meaning. They help you understand why certain environments drain you and why others energize you. They help you recognize what your soul was designed to express. As you uncover these passions, do not rush them or force them into shape. Allow them to unfold naturally. Let them breathe. Let them lead you with curiosity instead of fear. These passions will guide you to opportunities, relationships, and decisions that align with who you truly are. And as they awaken more fully, you will realize that the parts of yourself you thought you lost were never lost. They were simply waiting for the right moment to re-emerge. There are paths ahead of you that once felt far too overwhelming to consider, yet you are stepping into a season where those very paths will begin to feel not only possible, but meaningful. You have sensed these callings before, moments where something stirred in your heart, urging you toward greater purpose, deeper contribution, or a more authentic expression of who you are. But fear spoke loudly. Doubt rose quickly. You felt unprepared, unqualified, or too uncertain to pursue what your spirit recognized as truth. These callings did not disappear when you hesitated. They simply waited. They waited for your heart to heal. They waited for your confidence to grow. They waited for your maturity to deepen. They waited until you could step toward them without collapsing under the weight of expectation or fear. Now, as clarity sharpens and your inner world aligns, these callings begin to rise again. But this time, you will respond differently. You will sense a steadiness that wasn't present before. You will feel a grounded confidence that replaces the anxiety that once held you back. You will notice that opportunities connected to these callings approach you at moments when you feel unexpectedly ready. These callings might involve leadership, creativity, service, healing, teaching, guiding, building, supporting, inspiring, or innovating. Whatever it is, it will align with the truth of your inner design. You will no longer approach your callings with trembling fear, but with a sincere acknowledgement that you were made for this. The uncertainty that once immobilized you will become curiosity. The hesitation that once stalled you will become discernment. The self-doubt that once silenced you will become wisdom. As you step into these callings, you will notice how every experience, both the painful and the beautiful, prepared you. Nothing was wasted. Even the setbacks taught you resilience. Even the heartbreak taught you compassion. Even the confusion taught you clarity. And now you step forward with a heart that knows its own strength, a mind that recognizes its own wisdom, and a spirit that trusts its own guidance. You will see that you are fully capable of walking into what once frightened you, not because the path got easier, but because you grew into the person who can walk it. There is a shift taking place in the way you see yourself, your story, and the world around you, and this shift will begin to rewrite how you interpret experiences that once felt confusing or heavy. You have spent years seeing through lenses shaped by past pain, unmet expectations, old fears, and voices that didn't understand the depth within you. These lenses added weight to your journey, making it difficult at times to recognize your progress or appreciate your worth. But now, something inside you is beginning to sharpen, a clarity rising from a deeper place, a way of seeing that aligns more closely with truth than with memory or emotion. This new perspective will not arrive as a sudden burst of revelation, but as a steady unfolding, like the slow parting of clouds that reveal light beneath them. You will look at situations that once overwhelmed you and notice that they no longer hold the same power. You will revisit memories that once haunted you and see how those moments shaped your resilience rather than your identity. You will reflect on relationships that once confused you and finally understand the lessons they carried. This shift in perspective will also change the way you see opportunities. Where you once saw impossibilities, you will begin to see potential. Where you once saw closed doors, you will begin to see redirection. Where you once saw endings, you will begin to recognize beginnings that had not yet taken shape. Even your view of your own mistakes will transform. Instead of seeing them as evidence of failure, you will see how they taught you discernment, how they humbled you, how they prepared you to make wiser choices. You will begin to perceive your emotions differently, recognizing them not as barriers but as signals guiding you toward alignment. You will understand that discomfort is often an invitation to grow, that longing is often a sign of purpose, and that frustration is often a catalyst for change. This new perspective will bring peace into places where chaos once lived, and strength into places where self-doubt once whispered. And with this clarity, you will move through life with an inner steadiness that does not rely on circumstances being perfect. You will become more patient with your process, more compassionate toward your past selves, and more hopeful about your future. This shift is not accidental. It is the result of the inner transformation happening within you. It will change how you see everything, and once your perspective changes, the entire direction of your life will begin to shift with it. There is a sensitivity awakening inside you that will allow you to navigate choices, relationships, and environments with a clarity you once struggled to access. This sharpening of discernment comes from everything you've endured and everything you've learned. It comes from observing, from reflecting, from listening to your spirit even in moments when your emotions were loud and your mind felt clouded. Your discernment has always been present, but now it is being refined into a tool that will guide you through the next chapters of your life with wisdom and confidence. You will notice this sharpening in subtle ways at first. You will sense when a situation is not aligned with your growth before anything negative unfolds. You will recognize when someone's intentions do not match their words. You will identify opportunities that carry genuine promise rather than empty excitement. You will feel clarity in your body before your mind can articulate it, an inner knowing, a quiet nudge, a sense of peace or unease that becomes increasingly difficult to ignore. This discernment will help you protect your energy and direct it toward what truly matters. Instead of overthinking, you will trust the signals rising from your spirit. Instead of doubting your instincts, you will honor them. Instead of being swept into decisions by pressure, fear, or urgency, you will pause long enough to hear the truth beneath the noise. Discernment will also help you let go of what no longer serves you. You will outgrow certain patterns not because they suddenly became harmful, but because your spirit recognizes that they no longer align with your purpose. You will walk away from relationships that drain you, not out of anger, but out of understanding. You will release opportunities that once tempted you because you can now sense that they would limit who you are becoming. And with each decision made through discernment, your path will become clearer. You will move with greater ease because you are no longer pulled in directions that contradict your growth. You will walk with confidence because you will trust your awareness. You will embrace opportunities with courage because you will sense their authenticity. The sharpened discernment will not make your life more complicated. It will simplify it. It will guide you to what resonates with your spirit, line you with people who support your growth, and protect you from paths that would lead you backward. The more you trust it, the stronger it becomes. And as it strengthens, you will find that every step you take feels more aligned, more intentional, and more connected to the truth unfolding inside you. There is a transformation occurring in your heart that will refine your desires in ways that bring you closer to your true identity, your purpose, and your deepest joy. You have carried desires shaped by fear, expectation, comparison, and emotional wounds. Desires that reflected what you thought you needed rather than what your spirit actually longed for. You chased after certain goals because they seemed safe, familiar, or socially acceptable, even when they didn't resonate with your soul. You held on to certain dreams because they once brought comfort, even if they no longer aligned with who you are becoming. But now, As your inner world heals and expands, your desires are shifting. This purification is not about losing your passions. It's about uncovering the desires that actually belong to you. You will notice yourself letting go of pursuits that once consumed your energy because they no longer satisfy the deeper parts of your being. You will find that what once motivated you begins to feel empty or irrelevant, not because you failed, but because you have outgrown those motivations. You will feel drawn toward things that bring genuine fulfillment, peace, and alignment rather than external validation. As these purified desires emerge, you will feel a sense of honesty within yourself that you may not have experienced before. You will acknowledge what you truly want without guilt or hesitation. You will allow yourself to dream in new directions that once felt too bold or too vulnerable. You will begin to desire relationships that nourish your spirit, environments that support your growth, and opportunities that express your authenticity. These desires will not compete with your peace. They will deepen it. They will not pull you into confusion. They will anchor you in clarity. They will not drain you. They will energize you because they are aligned with the truth unfolding inside you. As your desires purify, you will also feel a renewed sense of purpose. You will recognize which ambitions were rooted in old wounds and which ones reflect the healed, whole version of yourself. You will stop settling for what is convenient and start reaching for what is meaningful. This purification will help you live with intention rather than impulse, with authenticity rather than fear, with depth rather than distraction. And as your desires align with your identity, you will feel a harmony inside you that guides your choices with confidence and grace. This is not the end of dreaming. It is the beginning of dreaming from a place of truth. There is a refining happening inside you that will soon illuminate the reasons behind your choices, motivations, and longings in a way that feels both liberating and grounding. You have spent years acting from a mixture of intuition, hope, fear, desire, pressure, and survival. And while you did the best you could with the understanding you had, much of your energy was scattered because your intentions were shaped by circumstances rather than clarity. Now you are entering a season where your inner motives will rise into the light, allowing you to see not only what you want, but why you want it. This shift will feel like a quiet revelation, where the noise inside your mind softens enough for you to finally hear the truth beneath your surface desires. You will begin to recognize when your intentions come from insecurity or when they arise from authenticity. You will notice when you are chasing something because of old emotional patterns, and when you are moving towards something because it genuinely aligns with your growth. This clarity will free you from obligations you silently carried and from expectations that never belonged to you. It will help you identify which pursuits drain you and which ones energize you. As your intentions clarify, you will become more honest with yourself, not in a harsh or self-critical way, but with a gentle, compassionate awareness that helps you understand your heart more deeply. This honesty will show up in the conversations you have with yourself, allowing you to release goals that no longer resonate and embrace ones you once feared to acknowledge. You will feel less pressured to prove yourself and more inclined to live from truth. This clarity will shape your decisions in ways that bring peace rather than confusion. You will set boundaries not out of resistance, but out of alignment. You will move away from relationships that dim your spirit and toward connections that nurture your authenticity. You will feel more intentional with your time, your words, your emotions, and your energy, because everything in you will desire a life that reflects the truth you are uncovering. As your intentions shift, so will the direction of your life. You will start to see opportunities more clearly because your heart is no longer clouded by conflicting motives. You will recognize your desires as guideposts, signals pointing you toward the life that resonates with who you truly are. This clarity is part of your transformation, and as it deepens, you will experience a steadiness that allows you to move forward with intention, confidence, and peace. There is a strengthening taking place in the core of your being, shaping the principles you live by, the truths you stand on, and the standards you hold for yourself and your life. For years, your values were influenced by what you were taught, what you experienced, and what you hoped would bring you safety or acceptance. Some of those values were real and rooted in your spirit, while others were inherited out of survival or expectation. As you journeyed through challenges, relationships, transitions, and personal growth, many of these values were tested, not to break you but to reveal what genuinely belongs to you. And now you are entering a season where your core values will become clearer and more stable than ever before. You will feel a growing conviction about what matters to you, and this conviction will not be rigid but deeply grounded. You will recognize what aligns with your identity and what contradicts your inner truth. You will find yourself unwilling to compromise on things that once felt negotiable, because your spirit understands the cost of betraying your own integrity. This stability will help you navigate life with greater ease, because decisions that once felt overwhelming will now be guided by the clarity of your values. Instead of being pulled in multiple directions by conflicting expectations, you will move from a place of centeredness. You will identify what relationships match the person you are becoming, what responsibilities nourish your growth, and what commitments no longer serve your purpose. This solidification will not make you judgmental. It will make you wise. You will be able to recognize when someone's values clash with your own without needing to force change or compromise yourself. You will become more intentional with your yes and more confident with your no. You will feel more grounded in your identity because your values will reflect the truth of who you are rather than the demands of others. This firming of your values will also bring stability to your emotions. You will find yourself less reactive because you are no longer uncertain about where you stand. You will become more patient because you trust the foundation beneath you. You will feel more resilient because you know what you are anchored to. And as your values solidify, your life will begin to align with a deeper sense of purpose, one that cannot be shaken by external pressure or temporary circumstances. What you are becoming inside is creating a foundation strong enough to support the life you are meant to build. There is a transformation unfolding within you that will empower you to protect your peace, your energy, your growth, and your emotional well-being with a maturity that may surprise even you. For years, you struggled with boundaries, not because you lacked courage, but because you carried a heart that wanted to love deeply, give freely, and understand others with compassion. This tenderness made you vulnerable to situations where you absorbed more than you should have, tolerated behaviors that drained you, or held on to relationships long after they stopped nurturing your spirit. Yet every experience that stretched you beyond your limits taught you something essential about your capacity, your needs, and your worth. Now, as clarity rises within you and your identity strengthens, your boundaries will begin to take shape naturally, not as walls of fear, but as expressions of self-respect. You will feel your instincts becoming clearer, guiding you toward what is healthy and away from what is harmful. You will begin to recognize when someone's presence unsettles your spirit, even if their words sound kind. You will sense when an environment disrupts your peace, even if it once felt familiar. These inner signals will no longer be ignored. They will become invitations to honor your growth. Strengthened boundaries will allow you to give from fullness rather than depletion. You will stop overextending yourself out of guilt or obligation. You will no longer feel responsible for fixing situations that were never yours to fix. You will understand that saying no does not make you unkind. It makes you aligned. You will discover that protecting your energy does not make you selfish. It makes you wise. These boundaries will not come from anger. They will come from healing. They will reflect the truth that you deserve relationships rooted in mutual respect, communication grounded in honesty, and environments that promote emotional and spiritual expansion. As your boundaries strengthen, your connections will deepen because they will be formed from authenticity rather than imbalance. You will attract people who value your presence and support your growth. You will find conversations becoming more meaningful because you are no longer performing or accommodating at the expense of your peace. You will move through the world with a sense of dignity that shapes how others treat you. And as your boundaries solidify, you will realize that they are not barriers. They are bridges to a healthier, truer, and more grounded version of yourself. There is a quiet strengthening forming within you, a resolve that is emerging from places inside you that were once fragile, and this inner resolve will begin shaping your discipline in ways you may not expect. You have gone through seasons where consistency felt impossible, times when your emotions fluctuated too quickly, when motivation disappeared without warning, or when responsibilities weighed so heavily that even your best intentions crumbled beneath the pressure. Yet every attempt you made, even the ones you dismissed as failures, helped build an inner framework that is now ready to hold more than it ever could before. Your discipline will deepen, not because you suddenly become perfect or unshakable, but because your spirit is entering a place of alignment where your actions will naturally follow your clarity. You will start noticing small changes first. Habits that once felt forced will begin to feel more natural. Commitments that once overwhelmed you will feel manageable because your values and your desires are no longer in conflict. You will find yourself drawn toward routines that nourish you rather than drain you. Your mind will feel less scattered as your intentions grow clearer, and that clarity will steady your daily choices. Discipline will become less about pushing yourself and more about honoring what matters to you. It will not feel restrictive. It will feel freeing. You will discover that discipline is not punishment but protection, protecting your peace, your growth, your vision, your identity. You will become more intentional with your time because you will no longer want to waste energy on what does not align with your becoming. You will feel motivation become more grounded, not built on emotional highs, but on a deeper commitment to the person you are stepping into. Your discipline will show itself in how you speak to yourself, how you care for your emotional well-being, how you handle responsibilities, how you pursue your purpose. There will be fewer battles between what you know you should do and what you feel capable of doing, because your inner world is gaining strength and stability. This deepened discipline will carry you through transitions, help you build new habits, and support you in stepping into larger callings. It will help you recover more quickly from setbacks because you will not lose yourself in discouragement the way you once did. You will know how to return to your center, how to reset, how to refocus, how to continue without collapsing under pressure. And this discipline, shaped by grace rather than perfection, will become one of the most powerful tools in your transformation, guiding you into a life that reflects who you truly are. There is a depth being formed in you through the healing you have allowed yourself to embrace, and this healing is maturing you in ways that go far beyond emotional relief. You once believed healing was simply about reducing pain, but you are now discovering that healing is also about expanding capacity to love, to trust, to lead, to connect, to dream, to forgive, to create, and to grow without collapsing under the weight of your own past. You have walked through wounds that could have hardened you, but instead they softened you in the right places and strengthened you in others. They taught you how to understand yourself with honesty, how to sit with discomfort without running, how to navigate emotions without drowning, and how to listen to your inner world with wisdom rather than fear. This healing, though painful at times, has prepared you for a maturity that will guide every part of your journey. You will begin noticing this maturity in the way you respond to situations that once triggered you. Conversations that once overwhelmed you will now feel easier to navigate because you no longer speak from old wounds but from clarity. Patterns that once controlled you will lose their power because your self-awareness has grown deeper. You will no longer crumble under criticism or cling to validation the way you once did, because your healing has stabilized your identity. You will set boundaries without guilt, express your needs without apology, and walk away from toxicity without hesitation. This emotional maturity will not make you cold. It will make you steady. It will allow you to love without losing yourself. It will allow you to give without depleting your spirit. It will allow you to trust again, not blindly, but wisely. The healing within you will also shape your vision. You will see possibilities that were once invisible to you because pain clouded your perception. You will see opportunities where you once saw dead ends. You will see your own potential where you once saw only limitation. And perhaps most importantly, you will see yourself as someone worthy of love, worthy of growth, worthy of good things, worthy of purpose. This maturity will open doors you once felt unprepared to walk through. It will empower you to step into relationships that are healthier, responsibilities that are greater, and dreams that are larger. Your healing is not just helping you feel better. It is shaping you into someone who can carry the weight of your calling with grace, stability, and wisdom. There is a deepening sensitivity forming inside you, a refinement of the quiet voice within that helps you distinguish between what aligns with your truth and what contradicts the direction of your becoming. This sharpening of conscience is not rooted in fear, guilt, or shame. It is rooted in clarity. It is rising because your spirit is becoming more attuned to the subtleties of your inner world. You will find that you are no longer comfortable ignoring what you know is right for you, even in small ways. You will feel a deeper awareness of how your actions, thoughts, and choices affect your emotional well-being. You will notice when you move against your own values because your conscience will stir immediately, not to condemn you, but to guide you gently back into alignment. This sharpening will show up in countless subtle shifts. You will feel a quiet resistance when you move towards something that drains your spirit. You will feel a quiet peace when you move towards something that aligns with your growth. You will sense when a conversation requires honesty you once avoided. You will sense when a situation requires courage you once hesitated to show. You will sense when you need rest, when you need reflection, when you need distance, when you need connection. Your conscience will become a steady, trustworthy voice that leads you even when external guidance is unavailable. This sharpening will not make your life more restrictive. It will make it more purposeful. You will stop betraying yourself for the sake of acceptance. You will stop entertaining thoughts that contradict your inner truth. You will stop participating in dynamics that diminish your peace. You will recognize when you are slipping into old habits, and instead of spiraling, you will return to yourself with gentleness and clarity. This conscience will become a safeguard, protecting your growth, preserving your emotional health, guiding your decisions with wisdom. You will find yourself more honest, more intentional, more aligned. And as this inner voice sharpens, you will notice that your life becomes more coherent. Your choices will reflect your identity. Your actions will reflect your values. Your relationships will reflect your boundaries. Your directions will reflect your purpose. This sharper conscience is part of your transformation. It ensures that the person you are becoming is not only strong, but grounded, authentic, and true. There is a calm rising inside you that has been absent for far too long, and even though you may not feel it fully yet, its presence is beginning to steady the places within you that once felt chaotic, stretched thin, or overwhelmed. This peace is not the superficial kind that depends on ideal circumstances or the approval of others. It is the deeper, quieter form of peace that settles into your spirit when you begin trusting the direction your life is taking. You lost touch with this peace during seasons when you felt pulled in too many directions at once, when expectations weighed heavily on your shoulders, or when life demanded more from you than you had the emotional strength to give. But your peace did not disappear. It simply retreated beneath the surface, waiting for the moment when your heart would be soft enough and your awareness clear enough to receive it again. This return of peace will not come through force or discipline. It will come through alignment. You will notice its first movements in the way your mind slows down, even if only for a few moments at a time. You will notice it when your breathing deepens, when your reactions soften, when the constant urgency inside you begins to loosen its grip. Peace will return each time you choose honesty over performance, rest over pressure, presence over distraction. It will strengthen each time you give yourself permission to let go of unnecessary burdens. It will settle deeper each time you recognize that not everything requires your control. This peace will guide you in ways you once relied on anxiety to manage. You will make decisions without fear clouding your clarity. You will walk into situations without the internal tension that used to tighten your chest. You will feel more grounded even when circumstances are uncertain, because your peace will no longer depend on predictability. It will depend on trust. You will stop losing sleep over what you cannot change, and you will stop exhausting yourself in attempts to fix what was never yours to carry. You will feel a sense of relief rise in you, not because all your challenges disappear, but because your spirit becomes anchored. Life will still demand things of you. People will still have needs. Responsibilities will not vanish, but your internal response will shift dramatically as peace becomes the lens through which you move. Even conflict will no longer shake you as it once did. You will approach disagreements with clarity rather than defensiveness. You will navigate change with steadiness rather than panic. You will face uncertainty with patience rather than desperation. And as this peace roots itself more deeply, you will begin to understand that it was always meant to be your natural state, not a temporary blessing. It will restore your energy, sharpen your mind, renew your emotions, and strengthen your intuition. Peace will return to you, and when it does, it will feel like coming home to a part of yourself you thought you lost forever, but was waiting patiently for your return. There is a clarity forming within your thoughts that will soon shift the way you process information, make decisions, and interpret your inner world. You have lived through seasons where your mind felt scattered, where your thoughts jumped from one concern to another, where the noise in your head drowned out your intuition, and where mental exhaustion made even simple decisions feel heavy. This was not because you were weak or undisciplined. It was because your life demanded so much from you that your mind had no room to breathe. But now, as inner healing continues and your emotional landscape stabilizes, your mind is beginning to sharpen in ways you will soon feel more clearly. This focus will not appear suddenly. It will arrive gradually, like a fog lifting one layer at a time. You will begin noticing that your thoughts feel less tangled, that decisions feel less overwhelming, and that distractions lose their power more quickly. You will find it easier to concentrate on what matters because your mind is no longer trying to protect you from old fears or old wounds. Your focus will strengthen with each moment of truth you embrace, each boundary you honor, each priority you clarify, and each unnecessary burden you choose to release. Your mental clarity will also deepen your awareness of what deserves your energy and what does not. You will become quicker to recognize when your mind is drifting into old patterns, and instead of spiraling, you will bring yourself back to center with more ease. You will resist the urge to chase every thought or entertain every fear because you will understand which thoughts strengthen you and which ones drain you. This focus will empower you to complete tasks with steadiness, to plan with confidence, and to hold long-term visions without becoming discouraged by temporary setbacks. It will help you become more present in conversations, more attentive to your surroundings, and more intentional with your time. You will notice that stress no longer scatters you the way it once did, because your mind will have learned to filter what deserves attention and what deserves release. This clarity will transform how you pursue your goals. You will move with purpose instead of pressure. You will take action from alignment instead of fear. You will feel momentum returning to your life because your thoughts will no longer pull you in conflicting directions. Your mind, once burdened by too much noise, will learn to operate with precision, insight, and calm. And this sharpened focus will not isolate you. It will empower you, making your choices clearer, your path brighter, and your inner world more stable than it has been in years. There is a shift occurring deep within your emotional and spiritual life, and this shift will soon begin manifesting physically in ways you may have never connected before. Your body has carried the weight of your worries, your fears, your disappointments, and your unspoken emotions, even when your mind tried to convince itself that everything was fine. You have felt it in your fatigue, in the heaviness that settled into your chest, in the tension you held in your shoulders, in the knots in your stomach, in the way your energy rose and fell with your emotional state. But as healing continues to transform the deeper layers of your inner world, your body will begin to experience a release, a loosening, a lightening, a restoration that mirrors what is taking place within you. You will notice yourself breathing more freely, as though invisible pressure has finally lifted. You will feel your shoulders relax, not because you forced them, but because the emotional weight they once held has dissipated. You will sleep more deeply and wake with more energy because your mind will no longer be working through the night to process unresolved tension. You will experience renewed strength, greater vitality, and a softness in your physical responses as your nervous system recalibrates around peace rather than stress. Your immune system will respond to this healing. Your digestion will improve, your posture will shift, and even your facial expressions will soften as your body aligns with your restored inner world. This transformation will not happen through perfection or pressure, it will happen through alignment. The more you honor your boundaries, the more you release what no longer serves you, the more you speak your truth, and the more you nurture your emotional needs, the more your body will follow your spirit. You will feel a natural desire to care for yourself, not out of guilt, but out of love. You will crave movement because your body will want to express energy rather than store stress. You will feel drawn toward rest without shame because your body will trust that you are no longer pushing it beyond its limits. You will find yourself eating in ways that nourish you because you are no longer coping through survival habits. Your body will begin responding to your healing like a plant responding to sunlight. It will open, strengthen, and revive. This physical transformation is not separate from your emotional healing. It is the embodiment of it. As your inner world becomes healthier, clearer, and more peaceful, your body will follow the same direction, showing you that healing was never only about your heart. It was about restoring your whole being. There is a shift beginning to unfold within your relationships, both the ones you hold close and the ones that are quietly fading, and this transformation will reveal truths you've long sensed but couldn't articulate. You have walked through seasons where you felt unseen, unheard, or misunderstood, where you poured more into others than you received, where you tolerated dynamics that drained your spirit because you weren't ready to release them. Yet through all of this, something inside you was learning, growing, discerning, and preparing. Your relationships reflect the state of your inner world, and as healing deepens inside you, your connections will begin to realign with your growth rather than your wounds. You will notice this transformation first through a change in the way you respond. You will no longer feel compelled to explain your worth to those who refuse to see it. You will stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You will become less tolerant of emotional imbalances and more aware of the difference between love and attachment, support and dependence, connection and convenience. Your clarity will illuminate the places where you've been carrying what was never your responsibility. This shift will not make you colder or distant. It will make you wiser in choosing where to invest your heart. Some relationships will deepen because the people in your life can meet the new version of you with respect, maturity, and mutual effort. Conversations will become more honest. Understanding will grow. Intimacy will become safer and more nurturing. Other relationships will begin to drift, not because of conflict, but because your spirit is no longer aligned with the patterns that once held them together. These transitions may surprise you. Moments when someone you once relied on suddenly doesn't feel as emotionally close, or when you feel a distance rising where closeness once existed. But this distance is not rejection. It is redirection. Your growth requires space for healthier, deeper, more grounded relationships to take root. You will attract people who appreciate your authenticity, who honor your boundaries, who reciprocate your effort, and who see your heart rather than what you can provide. You will begin forming connections based on truth instead of fear, on purpose instead of convenience. And as these relational shifts unfold, you will experience both relief and revelation. Relief because your heart will finally breathe freely, and revelation because you will understand why certain relationships had to evolve or end. This transformation is preparing you for connections that align with the person you are becoming, not the person you used to be. Your relationships will no longer be shaped by old wounds. They will be shaped by the healing that is now defining your life. There is a rearranging happening around you, subtle yet significant, shifting the people who stand closest to your life. And the shift is a sign that your path is rising to a level that requires different voices, different energies, and different influences. For a long time, you tolerated company that matched your old self, people who fit your comfort zone, your fears, your insecurities, or your former identity. Some of them were companions through difficult seasons. Others were familiar simply because they were consistent, not because they were healthy. But as your awareness sharpens and your growth deepens, your social circle can no longer remain the same. You will feel this shift before you fully understand it. You will sense conversations that once interested you becoming hollow. You will find yourself pulling back from people who thrive on gossip, negativity, or conflict. You will feel discomfort when you are around those who drain your emotional energy or keep you anchored to outdated versions of yourself. This is not judgment. It is evolution. Your spirit is moving into a place where you require companionship that nourishes your growth rather than distorts it. You will notice new people entering your life, often quietly at first. Individuals who carry depth, wisdom, empathy, peace, or purpose. They may appear through unexpected opportunities, new environments, or a simple moment of connection that feels strangely familiar. These people will not take from you. They will reciprocate. They will not dim your light. They will honor it. They will not fear your growth. They will encourage it. Yet even as new connections form, some relationships around you will fade, not through anger, but through misalignment. You will stop chasing people who treat you as optional. You will stop engaging with those who only come to you in moments of convenience. You will stop bending yourself to maintain connections that fracture your peace. You will begin to understand that outgrowing certain people is not betrayal, it is self-respect. And as your social circle shifts, so will your identity. You will feel seen by those who recognize your depth, supported by those who understand your journey, and valued by those who honor your boundaries. This shift is necessary because where you are going cannot be sustained by the relationships that were built for where you've been. Your circle is being rearranged not to isolate you, but to elevate you. And when this shift settles, you will look around and realize that the people surrounding you reflect the truth, strength, and purpose rising within you. There is a part of you that has been quiet for far too long, a part silenced by fear, invalidation, criticism, or past experiences that taught you your words did not matter. You adapted by holding back your truth, swallowing emotions, minimizing your needs, or choosing silence over conflict. Yet deep within you, your voice never disappeared. It only learned to hide. Now, as clarity rises and healing strengthens your foundation, your voice will begin returning to you, not as an echo of your past, but as a powerful expression of who you are becoming. You will feel this restoration first in small ways. Moments when you speak up without overthinking, moments when you express your feelings without apologizing, moments when you share your perspective without fearing judgment. These small moments will build into a grounded confidence that shapes how you communicate, how you advocate for yourself, and how you show up in relationships. Your restored voice will not be sharp or aggressive. It will be steady, honest, and anchored. It will carry clarity because you are no longer speaking from confusion. It will carry strength because you are no longer speaking from fear. It will carry compassion because you have learned to understand the depths of your own heart. As your voice returns, you will stop minimizing yourself to keep others comfortable. You will stop silencing your pain to maintain peace that doesn't exist. You will stop hiding your truths just to avoid being misunderstood. You will reclaim the space that belongs to you, not by demanding it, but by stepping into it. And this restored voice will change your life. It will strengthen your relationships because communication will become more honest and more balanced. It will protect your boundaries because you will be able to express them with clarity. It will guide your decisions because you will trust your own wisdom instead of relying solely on external opinions. You will begin to speak with intention, with depth, with courage, with authenticity. And as your voice rises, you will recognize a truth you once struggled to believe. You were never meant to stay silent. Your voice holds weight, power, and healing, not only for others but for you. And now, it will finally be heard. There is a stirring inside you, subtle yet undeniable, signaling that the timidity you once carried is losing its influence, and a new boldness is beginning to rise from depths you have only recently started to explore. This boldness is not noise or aggression. It is the quiet certainty that forms when fear loses its grip and truth takes its rightful place within you. You have spent years dimming parts of yourself, sometimes to avoid conflict, sometimes to protect others, sometimes to maintain peace that wasn't real, and other times because you doubted the legitimacy of your own desires. But the version of you that once needed to shrink in order to survive is not the same version that stands here now. Something in you has been strengthening beneath the surface. The courage to step forward, the courage to speak truthfully, the courage to make decisions that honor who you are becoming. This awakening of boldness will feel like a shift in posture before it becomes a shift in action. You will sense yourself standing taller internally, even when your circumstances haven't changed yet. You will notice that you no longer hesitate in moments where your old self would have stepped back. You will feel a confidence forming that does not depend on praise or external permission. You will begin to take risks with more clarity, not reckless risks, but those that align with your spirit and invite your growth. This boldness will show up in conversations where your truth matters. It will show up in decisions where your future demands honesty. It will show up in opportunities that once intimidated you, but now feel strangely attainable. You will find yourself stepping into environments you once avoided, not because they have become easier, but because you have become stronger. You will no longer tolerate situations where your silence is expected, but your soul feels stifled. You will no longer place yourself at the edges of your own life as though you do not belong at the center of your purpose. This awakening will also reshape how you pursue your dreams. Ideas that once seemed unlikely will begin to feel realistic. Goals you suppressed out of fear will begin resurfacing with clarity. Desires you silenced will return with greater strength, not to overwhelm you, but to invite you into a life that matches the truth inside you. This boldness will not make you harsh. It will make you whole. It will not make you arrogant. It will make you align. It will not make you impulsive. It will make you intentional. You will begin to move with the quiet confidence of someone who finally understands that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the deep conviction that your future is worth stepping toward, even when you are uncertain. And as this boldness awakens, you will discover that you were never meant to live small. You were meant to rise with fullness. There is an expansion taking place in the landscape of your mind, a widening of thought that will soon lift you above the narrow patterns you once accepted as normal. For years, you processed life through filters built from survival, fear, past disappointments, and the limitations of your environment. You shaped your expectations around what you had seen rather than what was possible. You measured your future by the scale of your past. You accepted assumptions that were whispered into you by pain, insecurity, or the influence of those who could not see your potential. But your thinking is beginning to rise. This elevation will not happen through force or pressure. It will happen through awareness, through healing, through inner clarity that transforms the way you perceive everything around you. You will begin noticing this elevation in subtle ways. The way you reinterpret challenges with more wisdom, the way you question old beliefs that once felt unquestionable, the way your internal dialogue grows gentler and more constructive, the way your imagination begins to stretch beyond what you've always known. You will start recognizing possibilities where you once saw limitations. You will see solutions where you once saw obstacles. You will understand that many of the barriers you believed were external were actually internal narratives that no longer reflect who you are becoming. This elevated thinking will make room for vision, creativity, and strategy. You will begin to think more deeply about your purpose, your direction, your habits, your relationships, your strengths, and your future. You will consider long-term impact rather than short-term gratification. You will find yourself thinking with clarity instead of confusion, with trust instead of fear, with grounded wisdom instead of reactive emotion. This shift will also change the way you view yourself. You will stop defining yourself by mistakes, by past identity, or by what others failed to recognize in you. Instead, you will begin to understand your value with a depth you've never allowed yourself to embrace. Elevated thinking will give you permission to dream without apology, to plan without fear, to believe without hesitation. Your thoughts will lift to match your calling, and your mind will open in ways that make your future feel less intimidating and more achievable. And as your thinking elevates, you will find yourself stepping into opportunities, decisions, and environments that once felt out of reach, not because the world changed, but because your mind rose to meet who you were always capable of becoming. There is a strength forming inside you that will not remain contained. It will expand outward, shaping not only your life, but the lives of those who witness your growth. This courage is different from the boldness awakening within you. It is the sustaining fuel that keeps you moving even when uncertainty lingers, even when the path ahead is unclear, even when you are still healing or learning. You have already shown glimpses of this courage in moments when you kept going despite disappointment, when you made decisions without certainty, when you chose honesty over comfort, or when you walked away from situations that no longer nurtured your spirit. But now, this courage is maturing, solidifying, and taking form in ways that will influence everything you touch. You will begin to notice that your choices come from a deeper place, not from reaction or fear, but from conviction. You will no longer shrink in the face of judgment or misunderstanding. You will no longer delay what you know is necessary. You will find yourself moving forward even when you do not yet see the entire path, because something within you will trust that each step will become clear when it needs to. This courage will inspire others, often without you realizing it. People will observe your resilience, your transformation, your willingness to change, and they will quietly find strength through your example. Your courage will remind others that healing is possible, that growth is achievable, that boundaries are healthy, that truth is worth speaking, and that dreams are worth pursuing. You will influence others simply by being authentic, by living in alignment with your inner truth rather than conforming to expectations that once limited you. And as this courage grows, you will feel less intimidated by the unknown. You will explore new paths, take new risks, and pursue new opportunities with an open spirit. You will trust your intuition more. You will forgive yourself more quickly. You will embrace new beginnings with a sense of hope that once felt distant. This courage will not make you invincible, but it will make you unstoppable in your commitment to becoming who you were created to be. And will shape your present, your relationships, your choices, your voice, and your purpose. And as it becomes contagious, it will create a ripple effect, empowering others to rise with you. There is a quiet resurrection taking place deep within you, a rising warmth that you may only feel in fleeting moments right now, but it is growing steadily into something stronger, something capable of restoring what disappointment once tried to take from you. Hope, for you, has not been a simple emotion. It has been a fragile, complicated thing, often bruised by unmet expectations and long seasons where your efforts felt unseen. You have lived through moments where your hopes were lifted only to fall again, moments where waiting became exhausting, and moments where you questioned whether hope was worth holding at all. But what you could not see then is that hope was never destroyed. It was buried beneath layers of heaviness that your spirit could not yet release. Now, as healing deepens inside you, hope is beginning to rise again, not as a naive optimism or a desperate wish, but as a grounded, steady conviction born from the wisdom of everything you have endured. This rebirth will feel subtle at first, a shift in the way you anticipate the future, a softening in the places where cynicism once settled, an unexpected surge of desire to believe again. You will notice yourself imagining possibilities that once felt out of reach. You will find yourself feeling open to new opportunities without the same fear of disappointment. You will sense that something good is approaching, even if you cannot yet identify what it is. And this hope will not be fragile. It will be resilient. It will be built on the understanding that your past does not dictate your future, that your delays were not denials, that your losses did not reduce your worth, and that your journey has been quietly preparing you for outcomes far greater than what you once settled for. This hope will guide your decisions, soften your heart, and draw you toward the life you are meant to step into. It will help you trust again, not blindly but wisely. It will help you risk again, not recklessly, but courageously. It will help you dream again, not with fear but with anticipation. You will begin to feel the heaviness lift from your chest, the numbness loosen its grip, and the exhaustion in your spirit begin to fade. And as hope rises, it will create space for joy, for creativity, for renewed purpose, for deeper love, for healthier connections, and for opportunities that align with the truth emerging inside you. Hope is returning, not because circumstances suddenly improved, but because your soul finally has room to breathe. And as it rises, your entire life will begin to shift. There is a deeper trust forming inside you, one that will stabilize your heart and steady your steps in ways you may have never experienced before. Trust has always been complicated for you, shaped by experiences where people disappointed you, where situations crumbled unexpectedly, where life shifted beneath your feet without warning. You learned to protect yourself, to anticipate the worst, to create emotional backup plans just in case hope failed you again. Yet beneath all that guarding, there has always been a quiet desire to trust, truly trust, without feeling vulnerable to collapse. And now, through the growth unfolding within you, the trust is beginning to rebuild itself from the inside out. This trust is not blind, and it is not forced. It is the trust that emerges when your perspective expands, when your healing stabilizes your emotions, and when your experiences begin to reveal patterns you could not see before. You will notice this strengthening when you face uncertainty with less fear, not because the situation is easier, but because your inner world is more grounded. You will notice it when you embrace change with more openness, realizing that not every shift is a threat to your well-being. You will notice it when you look back at your journey and finally understand how even the difficult moments contributed to your growth, teaching you patience, insight, resilience, and discernment. This trust will become a quiet anchor when anxiety tries to pull you into overthinking. It will become a guiding force when you navigate decisions that once paralyzed you. It will soften your heart in relationships because you will stop expecting abandonment as the default outcome. This trust will restore your ability to rely on your intuition, your ability to believe that you're supported, and your ability to stand in confidence even when the path is not fully visible. And as this trust strengthens, you will no longer feel the need to control every detail of your life. You will make choices with clarity rather than panic. You will allow things to unfold naturally instead of forcing outcomes. You will recognize that the stability you were always searching for was not external. It was the trust being cultivated inside you. This trust will allow you to pursue your purpose with courage, to love with authenticity, to walk with confidence, and to face challenges with an inner strength that cannot be shaken. Your trust is not returning as it once was. It is becoming deeper, wiser, stronger, and more enduring than you have ever known. There is a release happening within you, subtle but profound, where the fears that once shaped your decisions, limited your movement, and controlled your inner world are beginning to lose their authority. Fear has been a familiar companion in your life, sometimes whispering quietly, other times shouting loudly, convincing you to stay small, stay silent, stay safe, or stay invisible. It taught you to expect disappointment so you wouldn't be caught off guard. It convinced you to protect yourself even when protection was no longer needed. It made you question your worth, your direction, your abilities, and your relationships. But fear's grip on you has been weakening with every moment of healing, every boundary honored, every truth spoken, every emotional layer shed. You may not realize it yet, but your fears are becoming smaller as your identity becomes stronger. This shift will not happen overnight, and it will not mean fear disappears entirely, but its influence will shrink dramatically. You will begin to notice this when situations that once triggered anxiety no longer overwhelm you. You will notice it when you face challenges with more clarity, when you respond with more steadiness, when your mind does not spiral as quickly into worst-case scenarios. You will feel a new strength rising within you. The strength to step forward even when you're uncertain. The strength to speak even when your voice is still shaky. The strength to believe in yourself even when doubt tries to return. You will no longer fear failure the way you once did, because you will recognize how much you have learned from every setback. You will no longer fear rejection the way you once did, because your self-worth will no longer depend on anyone's approval. You will no longer fear change the way you once did, because you will understand that growth requires movement. And you will no longer fear your own emotions, because you will have learned how to navigate them with grace instead of drowning in them. This freedom from fear will open doors you once kept closed. It will invite opportunities you used to avoid. It will deepen relationships you were once too guarded to receive fully. It will awaken courage you never believed you carried. Your fears will not win, not because you force them away, but because you grow beyond them. And as they lose their power, you will finally see how much life has been waiting for you on the other side of fear. There is a direction forming within you that is becoming stronger, clearer, and more persistent, and although you may not fully understand it yet, you can feel it stirring like a quiet pull in your spirit, a sense that you were made for something more, something deeper, something that resonates with the truest part of who you are becoming. This sense of purpose has followed you throughout your life, appearing in brief moments of inspiration or conviction, whispering to you during seasons when everything else felt confusing or heavy. You may have dismissed it before, believing that purpose belonged to people who were more gifted, more stable, more confident, or more certain than you felt yourself to be. You may have convinced yourself that purpose was something far away, something you would pursue one day, something you would reach only after all your flaws were fixed or all your circumstances aligned perfectly. But purpose has never been distant from you. It has been sitting quietly within your spirit, waiting for your healing, your clarity, your maturity, and your readiness to align with it. And now, as your inner world transforms and your life begins shifting into a more grounded place, your purpose will no longer remain in the background. It will rise to the surface with a clarity you cannot ignore. You will begin to recognize patterns in your story that point in the same direction. You will see how your gifts, your wounds, your strengths, your learning, and your experiences are converging into a path that fits you uniquely. You will notice yourself drawn toward certain kinds of work, certain kinds of people, certain kinds of environments, and certain kinds of conversation, not randomly, but because your purpose is guiding you. You will feel a sense of meaning in places where you once felt empty. You will feel a pull toward growth where you once felt unmotivated. You will feel an urgency to contribute where you once felt unsure of your value. And even if you still have questions, even if you still feel unprepared, something within you will whisper that now is the time to trust what your spirit has been sensing all along. Your purpose will not demand perfection. It will demand honesty. It will not require that you have everything figured out. It will require that you take one faithful step at a time. It will not force you into roles that drain you. It will guide you into spaces that awaken you. And as you align with your purpose, you will feel your life take on a new dimension of meaning, a sense that you are finally walking in the direction your soul was designed to walk. This alignment will bring clarity to your relationships, steadiness to your decisions, courage to your steps, and fulfillment to your heart. Your purpose will become undeniable not because circumstances suddenly become easy, but because your inner world becomes aligned enough to recognize what was always within you. You were created with intention, and now that intention is beginning to unfold in ways you can no longer overlook or resist. There is a widening happening in front of you, a gentle but undeniable shift in the landscape of your life, where possibilities that once felt distant or impossible will begin appearing with a clarity that both surprises you and feels strangely familiar, because deep inside, part of you always sensed you were meant for more than the limitations you carried in former seasons. You have walked through years where your future felt foggy, where no matter how hard you tried to plan or predict, everything remained uncertain, as though you were standing at the edge of a path you were not yet allowed to see. That uncertainty often made you question yourself, question your direction, question whether you were falling behind or missing something essential. But the truth is that you were never lost. You were being prepared. You were being shaped, strengthened, refined, and made ready for a future far fuller than the one your earlier self could have stepped into. Now, as your healing deepens, as clarity returns to your mind, as courage rises in your heart, and as alignment grows within your spirit, your future will begin unfolding in a way that is unmistakable. The fog will begin to lift. The path ahead will no longer feel like a blank slate. You will feel a growing sense of direction, not through force, but through recognition. You will begin seeing opportunities that align perfectly with who you are becoming. You will notice doors opening that once remained firmly shut. You will recognize connections, invitations, and moments that feel timed with precision, as though life itself has been waiting for this version of you to arrive. And even when the entire path is not visible, the next step will be. That is how your future will open, one clear step at a time, drawing you into deeper purpose, deeper fulfillment, deeper alignment. You will no longer feel the need to rush or panic, because you will sense that you are moving with the rhythm of something larger than yourself. You will no longer feel at war with time, because you will understand that nothing meant for you has ever been lost. You will no longer feel chained to past versions of yourself, because your future will pull you forward with a strength that makes stagnation impossible. And as your future unfolds, your fears about the unknown will soften. The anxiety that once hijacked your decisions will lose its influence. The doubt that once overshadowed your dreams will begin to fade as evidence of new possibilities appears in your life. You will begin trusting that your future is not a random series of events, but a carefully woven extension of your growth. There will be moments, quiet, unexpected moments, when you will suddenly feel the truth rising inside you. I am not behind. I am not forgotten. I am not without direction. I'm exactly where I need to be for what comes next. And that recognition will change everything. Your future will not open because you force it to. It will open because you finally become the version of yourself who is ready to walk into it. And as it unfolds, you will discover that there was always more waiting for you than you dared to believe. There is a turning happening inside you, a slow but powerful realignment that will soon begin to reflect itself in every area of your life, and you will feel it like the moment when a long-loosened piece finally snaps into its rightful place. You have spent years feeling as though parts of your life were scattered, disconnected, or out of rhythm, as though your inner world and your outer world were speaking two different languages. You tried to force yourself into environments that did not fit you, relationships that drained you, routines that suffocated you, and expectations that never matched the design of your soul. You endured seasons where you felt out of sync with your own life, as if you were always one step behind or one step ahead, never quite grounded, never quite settled. But that misalignment was never a sign of failure. It was a sign that your spirit was outgrowing a version of your life that could no longer hold who you were becoming. Now, as your healing deepens and your vision sharpens, your life will begin shifting to match the inner transformation you've worked so hard to cultivate. You will notice this alignment first in the small ways. You will feel drawn toward things that bring peace instead of pressure, toward conversations that nourish your mind instead of exhausting your heart, toward environments that awaken your potential instead of shrinking your presence. What once felt forced will begin to feel natural. What once drained you will lose its pull. What once confused you will begin to make sense in hindsight. Your decisions will grow clearer because they will emerge from a place of truth instead of fear. Your relationships will become healthier because you are now showing up as a truer version of yourself. Your pace will become steadier because you are no longer racing against someone else's timeline. You will sense opportunities unfolding in ways that align perfectly with your gifts, your capacity, and your intentions. It will feel like life itself is rearranging around you, not because everything outside you changed at once, but because everything inside you finally reached coherence. And unlike past seasons where change felt chaotic or destabilizing, this alignment will feel like a homecoming. You will feel yourself exhale in ways you haven't exhaled in years. You will stop bracing for impact. You will stop anticipating disappointment. You will stop feeling like you must fight your way through every doorway. Instead, you will begin walking into environments that recognize you, relationships that respect you, and opportunities that match the truth of your identity. Alignment will show up in your routines, your decisions, your relationships, your confidence, your direction, your emotional state, and even the way you speak to yourself. It will not remove challenges, but it will give you the clarity to navigate them without losing yourself. And as your life aligns with your spirit, you will understand something profound. Nothing meant for you will ever require you to abandon yourself to receive it. The more you grow into your truth, the more your life will shift to meet you there. There is a revealing ahead of you, a moment, or rather a series of moments, when what has been planted within you since the beginning will rise into full expression, and you will finally understand why your journey unfolded the way it did, why certain doors opened while others shut, why certain seasons felt quiet while others felt overwhelming, why certain relationships held purpose and others held lessons. Your destiny is not a distant event waiting at the end of your life. It is the gradual unveiling of who you truly are, and you are entering the chapter where this unveiling becomes unmistakable. For years you have carried pieces of identity, glimpses of calling, sparks of desire, fragments of vision, and though they felt disconnected at times, each one had been part of a larger design taking shape within you. There were seasons where you questioned your significance, seasons where you felt unseen or overlooked, seasons where your growth felt slow or invisible, seasons where you wondered whether your life held any direction at all. Yet even in those uncertain moments, something within you kept rising, kept learning, kept stretching, kept searching for meaning, because your spirit knew what your mind could not articulate. You are being shaped for something that requires everything you've lived through. Your destiny will not feel foreign when it arrives. It will feel like recognition, like meeting a part of yourself you've always known but never fully accessed. You will begin to move in ways that feel natural, not because they are easy, but because they fit you. You will notice that you no longer second-guess your intuition because it has proven itself trustworthy. You will feel guided even in unfamiliar territory because your spirit will recognize the direction even before your logic catches up. Your gifts, once subtle, will become powerful. Your insights, once private, will become impactful. Your strength, once quiet, will become influential. You will step into roles, relationships, and opportunities that align with your growth rather than your fears. And when these moments unfold, you will realize that destiny is not about becoming someone different. It is about becoming more fully yourself. Every hardship strengthened a quality you would need. Every loss shaped your compassion. Every delay refined your patience. Every disappointment expanded your understanding. Every moment of healing restored a part of your identity that had been dim but never destroyed. Destiny does not arrive suddenly. It emerges gradually, like dawn spreading across a horizon that was dark only moments before. And as it reveals itself within you, you will feel a confidence that does not come from achievement, a peace that does not depend on circumstances, and a purpose that does not waver with emotion. You will understand the weight of your story, the depth of your resilience, and the truth of your worth. You will see how you were guided, carried, held, and shaped for precisely this unfolding. And when your destiny rises, you will not feel overwhelmed. You will feel awakened. Because everything you need has always been inside you, and now the time has come for it to be seen. Amen.